Good evening. Your commentary of Italy against Spain today from Euro 2020 semi-final. I'm your alternative host, Russ Vernon, and you're listening to the commentary of. We are joined by the commentary team of Matt Isles and Nicholas Jones, plus also the two pundits for this one, Mike Orneman and John Kane. But before we get into the build-up to this one, let's remind you how Italy got to the semi-finals, beating Belgium in the quarterfinals. Here's how they did it.
Belgium here.
Give me once.
So the first set play examination for Belgium here. All the way through and in. Chiellini, then Bonucci. Italy lead. Belgium stunned from the set play.
I'm wondering if he's offside.
It's disallowed, Martin.
Yeah.
There's the disallowed goal. De Bruyne, Lukaku, and Doku with him. Still De Bruyne, denied by Donnarumma.
Hits it like an arrow. That's outstanding save.
That's quickly taken in towards Immobile. Look theatrical. Let's come back to Verratti. Barella! This one does count for Italy. And this time they do lead.
Poor clearance, and they come onto it so quickly. The way they press the ball, it's brilliant. Well, look at that. It's emphatic. Wonderful hit from him.
Insigne again. Tielemans trying to come back with him, but he's round him. Insigne. Ah! What a hit! 2 for Italy. Courtois beaten again. And the #1 ranked team in the world are 2 down.
Well, that's brilliant and ruthless at the same time.
Doku. Oh, Di Lorenzo. He's given it.
Puts his arm across and he gets that shove in the back.
Belgium's record goal scorer has the opportunity from the spot, which he takes. Belgium back in the game. Doku's on his way. And he's found Kevin De Bruyne. Lukaku! Italy survive. We're not sure how.
Just trying to work out how this didn't go in. Really should be putting that in.
Here's Mertens. Direct run from him. Chadli, 2 substitutes combining. Lukaku couldn't get there. Neither could Hazard. Doku. That pace again. How's it going to end up? Off target from the teenager.
Just couldn't keep that shot down. You see it rising.
He's about to start celebrations. For the 6th time, Italy are into the semi-finals of the European Championship. The team that didn't even qualify for the World Cup 3 years ago, rebuilt and revitalized. And this particular Belgium generation won't be a golden one. The #1 ranked team in the world are out.
Thanks for checking out our coverage of Euro 2020 on the BBC.
That is how Italy managed to get there. Now, let's see how Spain managed to get there. In just a second. will bring just having a few technical issues here, guys. Just here is how Spain managed to get there in their quarter-final against Switzerland.
So first corner of the game. He's driven by Jordi Alba, and it's in. Spain have the lead. It's a massive deflection. Jordi Alba's shot took a huge whip off Zakaria, and Spain are in front. Koke takes the corner, and it's a free header by Morata, which is clutched under the crossbar by Jan Sommer. The best ball in so far. In it goes, up goes the header, and it's Akanji who puts it over the top of the crossbar, and that's a real sight of goal. Deeper corner, and a header, from Zakaria, bounces just wide.
Another good ball in, Super League, wasn't it, from Zakaria?
Vargas. Oh, he's nicked it through Zuba. Good save. Well, that's the chance that they've been waiting for. A real, genuine sight of goal.
Best move of the match.
Oh, that's fallen back into Remo Freuler. Shaqiri scores. Xherdan Shaqiri for Switzerland. It's a bit of a gift in the end from Spain. Freuler found himself inside the penalty area, was very unselfish, and Xherdan Shaqiri rolls in his third goal at his European Championship.
Gerard Moreno
Caught by Freuler, and it's a red card for Remo Freuler. Switzerland are down to 10 men.
Well, there is a bit of a follow through, but you see he gets the ball, he kicks the ball on, so it's his left leg follows through. It's not sending off.
Oh, he's put it over the bar, and if Spain score the next penalty, they are through. Mikel Oyarzabal to send Spain to Wembley. Scores! It's been a long, hard road in St. Petersburg for.
And that's how Spain got there. But now we'll be joined by John Kane and Mike Orneman at half-time to see what their thoughts are of the game. But right now, let's join our match commentators. Is Matt Isles and, first of all, Nicholas Jones.
All right, good evening, everyone. So a crucial match in the semi-finals between Italy and Spain. The main difference is that Italy have won every single match throughout the Euros. Spain have scraped through to this one. Managed to get through on penalties, as we've just heard. And Matt Isles, how do you see this one panning out?
Yeah, I could really see it being a close game. I think the Italians, they've been slick. They've looked good in the tournament. The Spanish, yes, they've only won one game in 90 minutes, but, they've shown that they can be a quality side. They can hurt you in the attack. It's up to them. Well, it's up to either side to really win tonight, but it's going to be a real close game, I think.
Indeed, it certainly is. As we see all the players coming out, I'm going to hand over the commentary reins back over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Nicholas. Well, it's the red corner of Spain versus the blue corner of Italy. These two elite international sides face off in a heavyweight clash, fitting of the main event bill at one of football's most iconic venues. Both these sides have shown in this tournament they could pack a punch in attack, and scoring goals has been one of the reasons why both find themselves in the semi-finals facing each other, and both will want to make sure they hurt their opponent enough, and on the flip side, not give too much away to their opponent to hit into, and make sure they keep their guard up in the defensive ranks. They are no strangers to playing each other in the Euros and now meet for the third time, for the third tournament in a row. This really is a clash of giants you don't want to miss tonight at Wembley Stadium, as both sides, of course, now are taking part in their respective national anthems in front of a raised attendance at Wembley Stadium. 60,000 spectators now will be inside for both the semi-finals. Roberto Mancini, of course, bemoaned the fact that the Italian mass army weren't really allowed to travel from Rome unless they abided by the quarantine rules. But of course, the Italians who find themselves living in England for whatever reason, the same with the Spanish supporters, they have got themselves tickets to this game and are one of the lucky few to have done so. As the Italian fans sing their anthem very, very proudly indeed. And of course, it's been a real theme of this tournament, how those players come together, grab each other tightly on their shoulders and their jacket jerseys and sing their anthem with astronomical pride as these semi-finals are about to get underway this evening. Well, there are 4 left. Italy, Spain, England and Denmark remain standing in this year's European Championships. And 3 of the 4 semi-finalists have got their hands on this trophy, with only England being the odd one out. Let's run through the 2 starting lineups. Starting with Italy, they line up with Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal. The back 4 sees one change, which is an enforced one. Di Lorenzo is at right back with Leonardo Bonucci. Giorgio Chiellini is the 2 centre-backs. And Emerson of Chelsea replaces Leonardo Spinazzola, who of course is out after ripping his Achilles in the latter stages of their quarter-final win against Belgium. Barella, Jorginho and Marco Verratti are the 3 in midfield, with Federico Chiesa, Ciro Immobile and Lorenzo Insigne, who impressed on Friday night scoring that wonder goal, is on the left wing of the 3. The subs Sirigu and Mere, the 2 keepers, Acerbi, Bastoni, Fiorenzi, Toloi, Locatelli, Pessina, Cristante, Berardi, Bernardeschi and Andrea Bellotti. While for Spain, Unai Simon was man of the match against Switzerland after his 2 penalty saves and continues in goal, keeping his ever-present run in the tournament going. They match up with Italy with a 4-3-3. They go with Cesar Azpilicueta at right back. Eric Garcia is a surprise inclusion in place of Pau Torres. Aymeric Laporte and Jordi Alba make up the back 4. There's a 3-man midfield of Koke, Busquets and Pedri, with the 3 up front of Ferran Torres, who retains his place, Mikel Oyarzabal, who comes in place of Alvaro Morata, who drops to the bench, and Dani Olmo replaces Pablo Sarabia, who is out with an adductor injury. The subs, De Gea, Sanchez, Diego Llorente, Pau Torres, Jose Gaya, Rodri, Marcos Llorente, Fabian Ruiz, Thiago, Adama Traore, Gerard Moreno, and Alvaro Morata. It's an all-German officiating team, apart from the 4th official, who is Russian, and Sergei Karasev. Felix Breik, who refereed England's cruising victory against Ukraine on Saturday night in the quarterfinals, is our man in the middle tonight, wearing pink, black, pink from head to toe. Mark Borsch, Stefan Löper supporting him as his assistants, with Marco Fritz on the VAR, and the 3 assistants, Christian Dingert, Christian Gittelmann, and Bastian Dankert. We are ready to go. Well, I said about Spain in the red corner, they're almost wearing white tonight as we're underway. It's Spain who get us underway at Wembley Stadium. Which side will be heading back here on Sunday evening under the famous arch and facing either England or Denmark? Or which one will be falling at the semi-final stage? And remember, of course, winners tonight go one step closer to getting their hands back on this trophy for one of these 2 sides. And, of course, the chance to have an even better chance at a shot of glory and winning the European Championships. Is there's an early foul by Marco Verratti, as Italy are in blue, black, blue. Their home shirt, Spain in all white as well. And alongside me is my co-commentator, Nicholas Jones. Nicholas, 2 European powerhouses facing off, their regular opponents in the European Championships. How do you see this game faring?
I see it being more in Italy's favour because they cruised through the group stages and and their subsequent knockout round. So I definitely see this a win for Italy.
We'll have to wait and see as Jorginho gets it from a poor Spanish pass, but Ferran Torres comes into intercept. Now Koke plays it out to the right back. Cesar Azpilicueta is no stranger to playing on this particular pitch, of course, given his various cup final appearances with Chelsea. And Italy have already won in London. They beat Austria in the round of 16 in extra time to, of course, continue their journey and then set up that game with Belgium on Friday, in which they defended so well for the latter part of that game. And it's a throw into the Spanish on the left-hand side, which is taken into Eric Garcia. In for Pau Torres tonight, one of 3 changes for Spain. Out to the left, looking for Ferran Torres, headed away well by Di Lorenzo, heads it back into the centre-back Bonucci, who then calmly heads it back to Gianluigi Donnarumma. 2 minutes in, Italy 0, Spain 0, and a game you're listening to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. Bonucci been put under pressure by Ferran Torres on the corner of the right-hand box. Felix Breichlecht's play carry on down the right-hand side in Italy's own half before the little arm in the back that the referee did spot and has already seen Dani Olmo foul Leonardo Bonucci. But that is something we could see the Italians maybe be forced to do tonight, and that's the fact that the Spanish might come at them and go and press them, Nicholas. The Italians have been very much able to, a lot of the time in this tournament, play their way out of the back with no real trouble, haven't they?
Yeah, look, yeah, it certainly seems like they've been able to progress through the tournament without any major trouble. Spain, I think, have their work cut out against Italy, given how strong they've been.
Emerson with the ball. Now it's to Nicola Barella, who's onside, and he's going to go for goal, and he's hit the post. He went for the far corner. He is offside eventually. The flag raised by Mark Borsch. Of course, the attack has to be dead before the linesman raises his flag, but it was a lovely surging run through the middle. He is offside. He just strays slightly forward. He opened up with that curling effort via a deflection from Aymeric Laporte. Unai Simon was beaten, but unfortunately for Italy and Barella, he hit the post, and as well, he was offside, but that could be a sign of things to come for the Italians.
Yes, it certainly could. I mean, he certainly was on the attack with that ball, but he was unlucky to be offside.
He certainly was, but the Italians mean business very early on. Bonucci's passed through the middle, looking for the number 17, Ciro Immobile, was defended well by Laporte, and then he gives it to Alba, who gives it to his goalie Simon, who kicks it out for a throw. And of course, as well, for the first time, out of the 3 matches to remain in the tournament, there'll be a silver ball. It's the Adidas Uniforia Finale ball, which of course is very much resonating with the ball used at Euro 2004 and the final in 2008. Is Immobile now in the box? The flag is raised once again by Mark Borsch on that right-hand side. As Italy, just through the middle there, played that ball through. It was a lovely one through by Nicolo Barella, but Immobile just went a little bit too quickly through the middle, and the offside flag is raised. And the kick is taken short by Simon. Olmo comes short in the middle, out to Cesar Azpilicueta. He then gives it to Koke, but it's defended well by Verratti, and then Chiesa gets it, and then it's a good challenge by Garcia. He clears it out now to the left with Ferran Torres. First time he's going to attack and have a run at Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Slides it through to Dani Olmo, but it's gone well beyond him, and then Bonucci lets it run out of play for a goal kick. But 5 minutes gone. It's Italy 0, Spain 0, Nicholas, but both sides are going for each other from the off.
Yes, they're certainly. Yes, both Italy and Spain definitely going against each other right from the start. So I'd say it's fairly evenly matched at this point.
Nothing really in the way of clear-cut chances. Of course, Barella with the only real sniff, and that was one that he hit against the post, but of course it was irrelevant given that he couldn't beat the offside trap. Here is Eric Garcia, just completed a free transfer to Barcelona, returning back home after a few years away in Manchester with Manchester City. Pedri, who's covered the most distance in the tournament by some way, ahead of Thomas Souček, the young Barcelona midfielder who was just 5 years old when Spain won UEFA Euro 2008 in Austria and Switzerland. Now, Torres to Alba. This is nice interchange play by the Spanish. Alba's pass, though, to Torres was not the best as Bonucci cuts it out. Now, Barella, Jorginho to Chiesa. Chiesa goes on the outside of Alba, but he can't get away from Pedri, who covers the ground well. Pretty much a theme of his tournament so far. And then Alba now to Pedri, the young Barcelona midfielder. But this is what Spain will do, and it has been not just what they've done in this tournament, but throughout the last sort of 10, 15 years, isn't it? They will keep the ball for fun. They have so much possession of it. But in this tournament, you can easily say that they've not really made it count. Let's hope that tonight is a different story. As Eric Garcia's touch was one that doesn't see Insigne pounce on it. But Simon's kicking has been questionable so far. That was another bad example there as he kicked it straight to Marco Verratti. But Spain are able to defend it as Piliqueta tries to clear. Verratti slides in. Of course, wearing his light blue bandage around his right knee. And it's an Italy throw down the left-hand side. But the Italians playing high, really pushing the Spanish so far, aren't they? And it does maybe feel like both sides are going to match each other.
Yes, the Italians are certainly pushing the Spanish really hard. And given what we've seen in the past couple of minutes, I think it's only a matter of time before Italy break through.
Well, yeah, of course. 0-0 it is so far. 7.5 minutes gone. Roberto Mancini and Luis Enrique look on. Roberto Mancini, a cup final winner here 10 years ago with Manchester City as the manager of the blue side of Manchester when they beat Stoke City in the FA Cup. For Luis Enrique, he has lost a quarter-final at Wembley to England in Euro 96 when Spain were dumped out on penalties, courtesy of Miguel Nadal missing one of the two spot kicks, the centre-back. It's a name, a blast from the past that certainly maybe a few people listening in will remember. Is Aymeric Laporte scoring the League Cup final back in late April that saw Manchester City win at Wembley against Tottenham. Here is now Mikel Oyarzabal. In the middle now to Busquets. Now Pedri out to the left with Alba. He crosses in low looking for Dani Olmo, but Bonucci is able to just clear it away at the first time of asking. Straight to Laporte. Played every game of the tournament so far. Here's Koke. Looking for the options. Goes back to Eric Garcia. He then has time to look up and try and pick a pass out, but it's very short sideways passing by Spain, something that has been a real common theme as I sort of was alluding to earlier on. Here is Garcia. Now Olmo to Koke. Now to Oyarzabal. Now Azpilicueta to Garcia. The game has just settled down in the last sort of 30 seconds to 60 seconds or so. Here is Pedri trying to get around Barella, but he stands his ground well, the Inter Milan midfielder. He's been forced to go by his corner flag on the right-hand side. Good pressing by Spain, and in particular, Pedri and Alba. Here's Ferran Torres. Now here's Busquets. He'll clip it forward, will he? No, it was blocked off in the way of it. Anyway, that passed through by Barella as he just sort of stood in the way of it rather than Busquets actually attempt to play it. There was a challenge by Verratti on Pedri. Felix Breich, the German referee, says play on. Let's hope Spain can profit from it. Here's Koke. Now to Oyarzabal. He's going to come in on his left foot as he tries to get the cross in. But it's defended well by Jorginho. But the Spanish were just probing there. But the Italians slammed it all shut inside their own penalty area.
Yes, they certainly did. I mean, great bit of play from Oyarzabal, but the Italian defenders did well to hold him off.
Yeah, they did. They maintained the line well in the middle of their own goal, just in front of Gianluigi Donnarumma. Of course, they came into the tournament with an impressive defence. They've conceded just 2 goals in this tournament. They're 13 matches in a row that they've won internationally. And of course, they're 32 matches unbeaten, the best of any Italian side. They'll be hoping that they can go 33 tonight and more importantly, 34 on Sunday, should of course they be successful tonight and in the final as well. Pedri is going to give it now to Torres, who's just about raced on to keep it in play. Now to Jordi Alba, 11 minutes gone. Italy 0, Spain 0 on a game we're listening to on the Commentary Hub. Of course, we're live on the Commentary Hub's YouTube page. We're live on Mike Arneman's YouTube page. JB Sports as well, our partner throughout the European Championships. The Commentary Hub on Periscope And of course, we are live on the Football Commentary Live Twitch page. Here is Busquets now to Cesar Azpilicueta. Out to the right-hand side with a short ball to Oyarzabal. There's a lot of roaming between the Spanish three so far as Oyarzabal now gives it to Dani Olmo, the Leipzig player, in for Pablo Sarabia, remember. Alba through to Torres. Cut out well by Di Lorenzo, who, of course, had his work cut out on Friday at times against Jeremy Doku and was very successful. They've got a throw on the right-hand side, but there was a little shout for Dani Olmo to get a free kick there as his boot or his back foot was trodden on by Jorginho there, but Felix Bryke, the German referee, didn't see it. Do you think Olmo there, Nicholas, has a case for a free kick?
Yeah, that was a bit of a clumsy move on him. It looked like the Italian player might have trod on his foot a bit, but I don't think he did it on purpose.
Pedri now to Oyarzabal, the touch just lets him down. He managed to get it through the heart of the Italian defence with that low ball through the middle, but it was cut out. Wow, Oyarzabal just couldn't get that touch right. And it's a let-off for the Italians. It's not the first, it's not many times in this tournament that you've seen Bonucci and Chiellini be cut open like that with a simple ball through the middle. But if Oyarzabal was a bit more ready for it, I think he would have got a shot on goal without a shadow of a doubt, as Cesar Azpilicueta now has the ball to Garcia inside his own half. Gets it back from Sergio Busquets. The Spanish having all the ball, which has been the story of their tournament so far. Short ball through the middle now to Oyarzabal. Is Azpilicueta. The Spanish have been the better so far inside 13 minutes here at Wembley. Remember, England-Denmark is the second semi-final. John Stuttard is alongside Justin Hoyt, the former Middlesbrough, Arsenal and Sunderland defender for that one tomorrow. Good turn by Olmo. Away from Di Lorenzo. Bonucci comes across, stands up well, and has won a goal kick as the last touches are judged to have gone off Dani Olmo. But the front three for Spain, Nicholas, Oyarzabal, Ferran Torres and Dani Olmo will move around. They will roam. They will make it very difficult with their movement against the Italian back four, won't they?
Yes, they certainly will. And in the past couple of minutes, the trio seem to be getting ever closer to the Italy goal. So do you think they might be starting to turn the tables a little bit?
Well, I think they certainly do look like they are. They're showing good signs that they can hurt this Italian defence that has largely been untested so far, you could say. Certainly in the group stages, they weren't, judging by the fact that they had 3 clean sheets. Austria kept them quiet for 90 minutes before the Italians' quality just shone through and was too much for Franco Foda's side. And then Belgium did try to hurt them, but only really from long range in the game on Friday in Munich, as Barella's ball was a poor one, straight to Ferran Torres. He's away from Jorginho. He strikes it low, strikes it wide. Ferran Torres, he just dragged his foot there as well as the ball just sort of dragging along the floor. But it was not the best ball by Barella. Looking to give it to Di Lorenzo. Torres managed to get it in a central position around about 20 yards out, but he fired it wide of the goal, and perhaps maybe feels he should have got that one on target.
Yes, I think he should have got that one on target, but it was just wide, like you said.
It was just wide, and Ferran Torres, of course, is someone who does know where the back of the net is. Of course, he had a good return in his first full season for Manchester City. His record for Spain isn't too shabby neither, so don't give him the opportunity to shoot as much as you can. Chiellini with the ball through, looking for Chiesa, who made the run from the right-hand flank through the middle, but it's too much and goes through to Unai Simon. Now Busquets, as Spain goes short from the kick. In the middle now to Koke. Slides it to Olmo. That's a lovely back heel to Pedri. Now he's got Torres to his right. Oyarzabal to his left. He decides to use Ferran Torres. Alba. Torres again. Alba makes the run down the line with the little give and go. Alba gives a clap in the air to say he liked what Torres was trying to do with that pass through, but he's just overcooked it slightly on Di Lorenzo's side, and it's an Italian goal kick.
Yes, Alba was efficient with that back pass, but his man just wasn't able to capitalise.
He wasn't able to capitalise at all, and then the Italians were able to breathe a sigh of relief that Alba wasn't able to get on the end of that pass, But of course, a scorer in the Euro 2012 final where Spain won 4-0 and probably produced one of the best team performances of any side in any European Championships in previous times. As going back to his goalkeeper was Alba to Unai Simon, wearing all orange. And of course, wearing orange goalie gloves as well is Azpilicueta, the right back with his back to, with his self-facing Unai Simon, but it was not the best ball in the middle. Barella has won the free kick. Felix Brych, the referee, did just wait until Italy did lose the ball before Busquets did just pull on his shirt. Barella slid in, won the ball well, and then there was a little tug back by Busquets there, and an easy spot for the referee right in the middle of the pitch, around about 25 yards out.
Yes, quite a bit of physical contact. Unnecessary to be pulling on Barella's shirt. Bit naughty, I think.
He did just get caught out of position there, caught off guard, did Sergio Busquets. So he's hoping that the referee doesn't spot him or he makes any more fouls, because no doubt he'll probably get his name taken should he continue making fouls. It's an Italy free kick, the first one of any of the game so far. Insigne's going to take. Spain have got a very high line. Insigne clips it in. There's forward runners through the Spain defence. It was Di Lorenzo and Immobile who made runs through. And had Insigne taken the pace off the ball as he aimed it centrally, I think Immobile was just going to get a touch to it and get it beyond Simon, you would have imagined.
Yes, Immobile did come pretty close to it, but Simon, credit to him, just got to it in the nick of time.
It's a corner kick for Spain down the other end as Ferran Torres, who comes in from the left-hand side, looks to try and play it through the middle before Jorginho comes across to intercept and knock it out for a corner kick. But it does feel like with Spain, it did just have that feeling that with Oyarzabal, Torres and Olmo, they're going to look to just try and hit Italy with Bonucci and Chiellini and try and get them sort of turning their backs and using their pace, which of course is something that they've not been blessed with at their age at the moment and probably throughout their career. Spain corner over the left. Oyarzabal takes, Torres attacks it, doesn't meet it. It's headed away well by the Italian defence. It's headed all the way out to the right-hand side, just on the halfway line where Pedri's picked up the ball. And then he's going to knock it back to Eric Garcia, gives it to Unai Simon, and then he plays it out to the left with now Koke. Alba to Oyarzabal. Heavy touch is seized upon by Jorginho. He's really improved in that aspect in his game, which is reading it and being a bit more defensive and making tackles in there. And Italy have got a free kick for a late lunge on the right-hand side on Giovanni Di Lorenzo. 20 minutes almost upon us here at Wembley in the first semi-final. Italy 0. Spain. Nicholas, what are your observations within the first sort of 19 and a half minutes of this one?
Still think it's fairly evenly matched, although in the past few minutes, Spain looked like they have rapidly closed up to Italy, but Italy still doing very well to hold their ground. And we appear to have lost Matt as
Dani Olmo.
It was Verratti that went to the ground. I think we've got Matt back now. Anyway, Olmo was fouled, so play still resumes. 20 minutes gone. Italy 0, Spain 0. As it looks to me as though Emerson had the ball momentarily. Now it's with Barella. Now Busquets, I believe, has gone to ground, and we still can't seem to get hold of Matt. Apologies for all this. We will get it. We will bring him back on air as and when we can. Nice bit of play from Italy, but cut out well by Spain. It looked to me as though Barella came close to scoring for the Azzurri, but Spain now have Spain are now in possession again. This is Eric Garcia. Garcia now with the ball for Spain. He passes it to one of the midfielders. I think that might have been. Now it's with Busquets. Busquets back to Garcia. Garcia now running forwards into the centre of the pitch, and it was almost picked up by Pepe. But no, Pedri, I should say. Still no word from Matt. I apologise for any technical problems. We will try and reach him eventually. As Cesar Azpilicueta now has the ball for Spain and straight back to Garcia, but it's now with Simon. Simon clears the ball upfield and has found Pedri, but Giovanni Di Lorenzo has pulled it back for Italy. Throw in taken by Italy, and it's now with Donnarumma. Now it's with Emerson. Emerson passes back to Verratti. Now cleared back to Emerson. Emerson now straight to. But still remains with Emerson. Now it's with Chiellini, the captain. And out it goes. Almost picked up by Chiesa by the looks of it. Both managers issuing their instructions from the touchlines. Luis Enrique being a bit more animated than Roberto Mancini. It's now picked up by Ferran Torres, not for long though, as Italy have managed to steal the ball off him. Verratti, almost straight to, I think that might have been Immobile. Italy have had 30% possession compared to Spain 70%, so it looks to me as though Spain have managed to overtake them in terms of possession, but the main thing is that everything still remains at 0-0, just over 23 and a half minutes gone between Italy and Spain at Wembley. You're listening to the Commentary Hub, and we are available, and we can be heard also on Mike Harneman's YouTube channel, Periscope, Twitch, and JB Sports, who we're in partnership with. And it's ball's now back with Azpilicueta as we speak, and it's passed straight to Oyarzabal, and Oyarzabal has gone onto the ground. And it's now with Garcia. Garcia now to, I think that might have been to Busquets. I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was Aymeric Laporte. Chipped in by Garcia, but caught by Donnarumma. Donnarumma will clear the ball out of the Italian goal. And it's now with Chiellini. Now back to Donnarumma, but it's picked up by Spain. Pedri. And now it's caught by Pedri again, but saved. No, it wasn't Pedri. It was Dani Olmo. Italy now have possession again, courtesy of Chiesa. It's now with someone else. They're passing it back now to Leonardo Bonucci. Bonucci gets it back from Chiellini. Now it's with Emerson Bonucci again, but out goes the ball for another throw-in, and we've actually got Matt back. So apologies that we lost. So apologies that we lost him, and we've got Matt's commentary again.
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas, for stepping in my absence. Of course, the beauty of technology does mean that you do have some glitches now and again, so it's nice to hear my voice back in the commentary box as Spain have just got a free kick as you just return. And of course, Gianluigi Donnarumma was busy just a few minutes ago, keeping Dani Olmo at bay with a good, smart save down to his right. He had 2 bites of the cherry. One was blocked by Bonucci, then it came back to him, went down low, but Donnarumma, a big goalkeeper, and of course, somebody who is very much like his predecessor, Gianluigi Buffon, made a very good save to keep it out and keep it at 0-0, I should say. Di Lorenzo gets under control from that poor kick from Simon, and Donnarumma all in yellow. Incidentally, he's just taken a few touches of the ball at his feet as he looks to just try and probably play it forward as he just slows down, plays it along the floor through the middle, looking for Immobile. Now it's played by Garcia to Olmo, who goes down right on the edge of the box. He was saying he was fouled by Di Lorenzo. Felix Brych was well up with it. He was right in front of it, was the German referee, and he's come to the decision that it wasn't a foul. It was actually Chiellini that was going in there alongside him, trying to win the ball back as Chiesa's been set free down the right-hand side from Di Lorenzo's ball, but it's gone all the way through to the goalkeeper. But Dani Olmo, once again, the culprit who looked like he was fouled, but Dr. Felix Brych says no foul then, Nicholas. I mean, there is just that feeling at the moment. The Italians look a little bit worried of what Dani Olmo's bringing to this Spanish attack.
Yes, they certainly could well be nervous. Spain, as I mentioned earlier, have the most possession throughout this game, but the Italians doing really well to still keep them at bay. But Spain look like they could break through at any moment.
As the free kick is given in the way of Ferran Torres, as he was fouled not once, not twice, but I think 3 times there by Di Lorenzo, as he tried his best to win the ball back, to be fair, but Ferran Torres was just smart enough to fend him off and just win a free kick as Simon now has it in the inside his 18-yard box, plays it forward down the middle for Torres, but Chiellini underneath the header and hands it to his right for Donnarumma to chase. But it has been since the very word go that the Italians have been under threat through the Spanish 3 up front of Oyarzabal, Olmo and Torres, and they are very much trying to get in behind Chiellini and Bonucci, and that's something in this tournament that we haven't actually seen many sides do when they face the Azzurri, which is try and hurt Bonucci and Chiellini, who aren't the most best pace defenders in the world, as the ball through the Spanish defence went over their heads, but it didn't quite go on through to Immobile from the Italian defence. As Di Lorenzo goes all the way in Spain's half to try and win it off Ferran Torres, but fouls him right on the right-hand touchline, and it's a Spain free kick inside their own half.
Yeah, a bit of a reckless move by Di Lorenzo, just shoved him in the back. But I would say that's just a normal incident, nothing worthy of anything.
As Piliqueta now back to Unai Simon. Spain, I can't remember to my knowledge, when they have sort of had the ball with Unai Simon, really, they haven't actually gone long very often. They do love to keep the ball for fun. Of course, they have had a lot of chances in a lot of games, but they've not taken them at vital moments. Sweden, they missed a catalogue of chances. Poland, they did so as well, as Pedri thought he'd done enough to keep it in play, but unfortunately wasn't able to do so. But the Italians are going to go to the bench here very early on, and it looks like that Domenico Berardi could be getting introduced very, very shortly. Whether or not that's an injury to someone, whether it is Insigne or Chiesa, is something interesting and something that we'll find out within the next few minutes or so, as Mancini and the medical staff on the Italian bench monitor that very, very closely. Throwing down the left, which Alba takes, looks forward for Olmo. Good header away by Di Lorenzo. The Spanish have possession as Alba tries to give it to Ferran Torres, but it's cut up by the Italian defence. Chiesa taking on Laporte. Laporte with a well-timed sliding challenge to knock it back to the goalkeeper, Unai Simon. Here is Cesar Azpilicueta. Now with Koke, put under pressure by Marco Verratti. There was certainly a push on Koke, but the referee says no foul, and Spain have the advantage. Torres, though, goes into the side of Di Lorenzo, who are both having a interesting battle with one another. They're both sort of swiping at each other at any possible opportunity. And there was a clumsy coming together between the pair of them, which sees Torres foul Di Lorenzo and Italy get a free kick. And I think that might have just been one to let one back in on Di Lorenzo, just to say that I'm here and you're not going to get the better of me in every situation.
Yes, I suppose that was just a way of getting his own back. I suppose, but it's certainly given Italy the free kick.
Has given them the free kick indeed, which they go back from all the way towards their goalkeeper and defence as Donnarumma plays it to Chiellini. Now to Emerson, of course, replacing Leonardo Spinazzola, who's been absolutely immense for the Italians right the way through to the tournament. Of course, he won't play no further part due to him snapping his Achilles, which is a horrible injury. Laporte and Immobile both went in for a challenge with one another. Laporte won it, and then there's a appreciation of high five between each other as Immobile goes down the port side. Verratti comes short from Emerson's throw down the left. Koke wins it. Now almost got Oyarzabal to his right. Almost goes for goal himself. It wasn't the right option. And he skied it into the Italian fans behind the goal. He wanted the glory himself there, Dani Olmo. And if he looked up and played it to his right through towards Mikel Oyarzabal, the Real Sociedad winger would have had a better opportunity to probably get the ball on target towards Donnarumma's goal there, but Olmo thought twice.
Yes, almost should have passed it to one of the to one or two of his teammates in the goal area. He didn't, and he paid the price for it.
He paid the price so much so he didn't actually get the shot on target. Donnarumma's kick is a testing one for Laporte to deal with. Him and Alba were a bit hesitant, just trying to think together who was actually going to come in and clear it. It's Laporte who takes on that responsibility and diverts it out for a throw-in on his right-hand side for the Italians, with Di Lorenzo going to take it. We haven't seen him in the Spanish opposition half that much. 33 minutes gone. Italy 0, Spain 0 in the first semi-final of Euro 2020. The second one is England versus Denmark at Wembley, both of these, as well as the final on Sunday. And of course, you can catch that with John Stuttard and Justin Hoyt being on the mic for that one. We kick off at 8 o'clock as England look to reach their first major final since 1966. As Verratti gives it to Chiellini. Now Verratti gets it back short. Chiellini again plays it out to Insigne. He's been quiet so far. Maybe it might be about to change how involved he is. He gets it from Immobile, just a little bit away from Insigne. Still in the box he goes. But Cesar Azpilicueta just nudges him off guard and off balance and nudges him so much so that the ball is run out of play by the little Italian, the number 10, who of course scored that wonderful goal on Friday but could do no such thing this time round in that attack.
Yes, yes, a bit of a poor giveaway to Italy, but Insigne was able to hold. Insigne was able to hold on. It was just unlucky for him that Azpilicueta was able to cut him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Really smart defending from Azpilicueta, showing all his experience there. The Italians had possession with Bonucci, Insigne with the dummy, and then Immobile was the man who was behind Insigne there, but the flag is raised by Mark Borsch on the right-hand side, the German official. So far, Felix Breich has not had any major decisions to make in this game. Of course, he's a name familiar with the fact he refereed England's game on Saturday, against Ukraine. There's a foul on the right-hand side. Ferran Torres fouled again. Felix Breich just showing to Di Lorenzo with his fingers how many times he's fouled his man. And I think another foul he makes on Ferran Torres is going to go into the book, as Felix Breich is certainly going to keep a close eye on him now from here to the end of the first half with 10 minutes of it left as well.
I should say he jolly well will, but those two just won't leave each other alone.
No, they certainly won't not. I mean, when Di Lorenzo gets the ball for Italy, Ferran Torres is down his side marking him and keeping him under close proximity. It's exactly the same when Torres gets it. Di Lorenzo does exactly that for the Italians when they defend. Azpilicueta goes to Eric Garcia. So far, the Italians' attack, which has been so strong and, of course, has been so quick and relentless, has not really been there tonight. It's the Spanish, you'd have to say, that they're happy with the two so far. Here is now Eric Garcia. Short ball out to the right to Cesar Azpilicueta. Of course, you've got Busquets just in front of the defence. And then, of course, Pedri and Koke play very much further on. So They do almost go forward and then go back and then just sort of dwell on it back a little bit too much. There isn't that real option for someone in the Spanish midfield to come short and go and receive it like, of course, used to see in the days of Xavi and, of course, players like that. Emerson gets it from Insigne. Nice play down the left. And he sees Emerson now running through the middle. He's got Chiesa to his right. It's a really good run by Emerson. Stopped in his tracks well by Busquets, who gets a foot to it, despite getting a bit of the man as well. But that is such good defensive play by Busquets, just to stand his ground in the middle of the pitch and not allow Emerson any room to get around him and continue the attack for the Italians that looked like it was brewing really nicely.
Yes, it certainly looked like an Italian attack was certainly brewing, but Emerson was unlucky to be caught out by Busquets. But Busquets did really well to intercept.
Yeah, he did very, very well indeed to intercept it. Here's Dani Olmo, comes all the way back inside his own half to receive the ball. Now he goes inside Italy's half. In the middle, he goes now to Alba, out to the left with Torres. Now Pedri is the man who he plays it first time to. Alba then to Eric Garcia. Garcia, no doubt, is going to look up, plays it short to Busquets. It is very nice to see when the Spanish do this, but you've got to hope that they can make strong strides towards Donnarumma's goal. Apart from that Dani Olmo chance, it's not really been in the way of chances. It's the Italian fans, of course, inside Wembley Stadium, the very few thousand that have got tickets, some of them anyway, are up and down singing. Roberto Mancini is up, but isn't happy as he's gone back towards the technical area, no doubt trying to speak to his coaching staff. He's blessed with a real well-known backroom staff, the likes of Vialli, Attilio Lombardo, Daniele De Rossi. Barella's fouled on the pitch nonetheless over on the right-hand side. Busquets and Pedri surround Felix Bryce, the referee, to say, what's the free kick all about? As Chiesa was giving the ball to Barella, but then he got fouled as Busquets just sort of stepped on the back foot, it looked like, of Nicolo Barella inside Italy's own half, as we are 7 minutes of this first half left to play. It is Italy 0, Spain 0.
Yes, yes, a bit of a poor possession for a free kick, but I'd actually like to correct you on that one, Matt. It was actually Emerson that went down.
Yeah, of course, they were just they were just showing that replay, weren't they, of that challenge from Busquets, and what a challenge it was. Really good as well, but the Spanish midfielders won it back. As Coca gives it to Pedri, the ball was a little bit behind Pedri as he couldn't quite get it out of his feet. Alba out to the right with Oyarzabal, who takes it first time, but skies it high. And I think he's gone for the real spectacular finish, really whipping it around his foot, trying to bend it beyond the goalkeeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma, but he's unsuccessful, and it's a real spectacular fail rather than a spectacular goal from Mikel Oyarzabal. But it was better from Spain, and it was quicker play, but it was just a shame that the finish was executed very poorly by Mikel Oyarzabal.
Yeah, poor execution, but he should have been. I think he should have been a bit closer.
Well, I think there's that element, isn't there, that he could have actually just taken a touch. I mean, you know, Oyarzabal is left-footed, it is stronger foot, but I have seen him score goals and get assists on his right foot as much as anything else, and he had a lot more time than he did because the Italians were stretched. They all sort of just went over to that right-hand side to not allow the Spanish to just play it through the middle, but how they got caught out, and Oyarzabal didn't see that. It's a lovely ball through to Immobile, who was trying to race on the end of that ball through. Unai Simon very quick off his line to sniff it out, and there's a foul on Busquets by Chiesa, who stepped in the midfield. It was Barella actually instead who made the foul. I do apologise for that. He's saying to the referee there was not a lot in that, and he does actually go in from behind, but does actually poke the ball through the legs of Busquets. I think Barella can count himself a little bit unlucky there as we approach the final 5 minutes of the first half, with the score near being Italy 0, Spain 0, and a first half that you would say both sides to some extent have cancelled each other out.
Yes, it certainly looks like they have cancelled each other out, but Spain have looked the more dangerous for me.
Yeah, I think that is a fair assumption to make when there has been chances in both areas of the pitch for either side. The Spanish have probably had the better of it. as it is nice to see Wembley, of course, in a bigger capacity, over 60,000 fans, or maybe just under that number, are inside this stadium tonight for this semi-final, and will be for England's semi-final tomorrow against Denmark. The final will be at full capacity. Should, of course, England make it, it will be in front of a predominant large English crowd, as Bonucci comes in and just gets there first ahead of Olmo. Went in with his side as it just sort of bounced off him, but there is a flag raised against Immobile. That's happened too many times in that first half from Immobile. He's getting caught out, isn't he, Nicholas, by the high Spanish line that they've deployed?
Yes, he certainly has been caught out by the Spanish defence. It's just he hasn't been able to break through, but whether he'll be able to do it within the remaining minutes of the first half remains to be seen.
He's certainly making the runs, Immobile, but his timing has been well off so far, so he'll be hoping that he can change that as we edge closer towards the end of the first half and beyond. Here's Oyarzabal, who's drifted out to the left-hand side from Pedri's pass. In the middle, it goes back to the young Barcelona protege. Now, Azpilicueta to Garcia. Now, Laporte to Jordi Alba. Pedri, first time ball into Olmo. Pedri was looking to get it back. Oyarzabal wanted it. He made the run from the right-hand side all the way onto the edge of the box to receive it, but it was Olmo tried to do the give and go with Pedri, who, for such a young man, looks so composed and doesn't seem fazed by it at all, does he? He just seems to get better and better in this tournament, doesn't he, does Pedri?
Yes, he certainly does. He's been a real nuisance to Italy throughout the last 15 or so minutes of this match, maybe even overall.
Yeah, he's playing higher up the pitch, isn't he? He is the more attacking one of him, Busquets and Koke, and so far he's shown glimpses, hasn't he, Pedri, but he's not just quite been able to play that killer ball through or receive it himself as he's made those runs through beyond Bonucci and Chiellini at times, but of course it just hasn't quite worked out for him or his team yet. Emerson away from Koke, did try to stay on his feet, to be fair, despite being knocked over by Koke. He got it from that pass by, I think it was Verratti on the left-hand side, and the referee, Felix Bryke, does give a free kick, as it was a pretty easy spot as Koke just came across his path and actually fouled the Chelsea left-back. Yes,
he certainly did. I mean, bit of an unnecessary shove in the back from Koke, but he's protesting his innocence to Felix Bryche, but nothing given apart from a free kick.
Free kick is taken short by the Italians. Here is now Barella, likes to make forward runs for the Azzurri. Now to Chiesa, scored at Wembley, remember, against Austria. Jorginho to Di Lorenzo. Does maybe feel like the Italians might just be trying to go in at the break 1-0 up rather than have it at 0-0. Here's Insigne. He's got Emerson alongside him. Insigne's going to go on his own. Now he finds Emerson. He's alongside him. Emerson shoots, and he's saying it got a touch off the hand of Unai Simon. The referee doesn't think so, and instead he's given a goal kick to Spain. But that's something we haven't seen from the Italians in this first half until now, where Insigne and Emerson link up. We saw Spinazzola and Insigne throughout this tournament do so. That's the first time we've seen Emerson and the Napoli man Insigne do it, and it nearly came off and worked.
Yes, it very nearly did come off and work, and that is the closest we have seen to the Italy that we know so far throughout the first half. Although we did see glimpses of them at the start of the game.
So it is the end of the first half of the first semi-final, and of course we wanted goals, we wanted some spectacular action, but it's not quite been like that so far. I hope it will get better. I think we all do. Myself and Nicholas include that, as well as everybody at Commentary Hub. Unai Simon's had nothing to do in the Spain goal. Well, Donnarumma had to make a save from Dani Olmo, as he's wanting words with Felix Bryche at halftime, as well as Mikel Oyarzabal. But the first semi-final of Euro 2020 at Wembley is Italy 0, Spain 0.
Yes, 0-0 at the break between Spain and Italy. Great coverage on that first half between Matt and Nicholas throughout the first half. We've got John Kane and Mike Orneman alongside us as well to talk us through and give us their thoughts on that first half. But before I go to John and to Mike, I'll just go to Nicholas. And Nicholas, what's been your overall thoughts on that first half, mate? Who do you think has looked the brighter of the two, in your opinion, Nicholas?
It started out fairly evenly matched, but for one part of the first half, it looked like Italy were in more control. But in the past 25 or so minutes, certainly up until the first half whistle, it looked to me as though Spain had the edge a lot more. So I would say Spain have had more chances in front of goal than Italy.
Yes, there's the thoughts of your commentator tonight, Nicholas Jones. Nicholas, go and get a break and we'll come back with you just as the players get ready for the second half along with Matt. You can go and take a break right now, my friend. Well, right now, let's fetch in two men who have been watching that game alongside me. First up is John Kane, and alongside him with me today is Mike Orneman as well. And John, first of all, what have you made to the coverage on Italy against Spain in that first half, which has ended goalless, my friend?
I think it was not surprising that it ended goalless. Both teams seems to be don't seem to find what they need to do in the final third, especially Spain to start with. They managed to get through in the end that final third, but even then they just didn't know what to do with the ball. And it's not quite surprising, to be honest, because if you look at the Spanish team, for example, they're playing like the Man City formation in a similar kind of way. But the only difference is the front three, who are very similar to Man City's recent front three, is that none of them actually out-and-out strikers. The Man City side, they can score goals, but in here with the Spanish side, they are really struggling trying to find a way or who can actually score for them. And even if they bring Morata in, Morata hasn't been having the best of times with Spain at the moment, and he's out of favour today, probably due to some sort of pressure from the Spanish media. I don't know, because it's not Spanish media or not Spanish people's flavour of the day, shall we say. That's the nicest possible way. But the way it looks at the moment, it seems like the Spanish bit struggling in the back a bit as well. And I think Laporte is probably the only one who managed to save them a couple of times. It's very hard to predict. Before the game, and I know we didn't have time, I actually would have put Spain to win this. And I still stick with that because you can see both teams are really more or less balanced in the way. Not with Italy that we've seen from the first round and from the last couple of rounds as well. It's just a completely different ball game today.
It is, John. You're absolutely right there. And Mike, what have you made to the opening first half, and in particular, Mike, Spain's opportunities that they've had in this first period? We'll try and get Mike with us in a minute. Mike seems to be having a few.
So yeah,
problems.
That's right.
Mike's here now.
Mike,
what did you think of that first half, and especially in particular the Spain chances that they've had so far?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think Spain should be very, very pleased, in fact, with that first half. They haven't had too many clear-cut chances at goal. Only the one on target, and Italy are yet to fire an attempt at target at all. And that was, of course, a really good save from Donnarumma for the Spain attempt on target. I think it was might have been Dani Olmo, I think, with the effort, and Donnarumma got down well to deny him. But I think that John kind of summed it up pretty well. That they're trying to play similar kind of system to Man City with a sort of no recognised striker, and then of course they're trying to target the two centre backs as well. The fact that they're a little bit aging, they're not kind of in their prime as such, and Spain are trying to use the likes of Olmo and Oyarzabal to try and get into that to get at that back line really of Bonucci and Chiellini, isn't it? And it's worked to a degree, but they're just yet to really fire off any attempts at goal.
Yes, neither side have really had an attempt at goal in that first period of play. And building up to this game, John, and with you living out in Spain, what's been the mood amongst the Spanish fans that you've managed to see and speak to around Spain? Have the Spanish fans been confident going into this match? And do you think the Spanish fans will still feel confident going into the second half?
I think before the match started, and speaking to quite a few Spanish people on purpose just to get the gist of what they're really thinking, the people on the street, not the media, and they were hopeful, but they still think that Italy's game is probably is going to end Spanish's run in this tournament. But they're not sort of dead and buried. They're a bit hopeful. Even if you look at the Spanish bookies, they've been very much in favour of Spain. Italy going through than Spain's. The feeling that if they lost, it's not the end of the world because they weren't expecting to beat Italy. However, after the performance of the first half, and like I said, it looks a bit edgy from both teams, actually, probably the Spanish will actually look at that and think, hang on a minute, we actually done okay in the first half. We just need to twitch a few things here and there, and we might be able to win this game. I mean, the first half, I'll go back to just to one chance, which is Oyarzabal, and there was a chance when the ball came to Oyarzabal and he could not control the ball. When I actually look at it, and I looked at it again and again, I know it's a small one chance and doesn't make a difference, but actually it does. Because Oyarzabal, it seems like wasn't even in the same wavelength as I believe it was Alamo who gave him the ball, and that can be a bit frustrating. And Spain starting from the back all the time, which is probably Luis Enrique trying to emulate the Barcelona style, which doesn't really suit Spain with the players that they got at the moment. Maybe you go back about 3, 4, 5, even 7 years ago, the Spanish and Barcelona style was very similar, and you sort of start from the back, and they've got the right players to do it. The only thing that frustrates me when I watch Spain is that they're trying to do something they're not capable of. I think that with the style of players they've got, they should just go play direct. But I think in the end of the day, I think if Spain do lose today, I think that'll be the end of Luis Enrique, because I don't think, and the Spanish definitely don't think, that he's actually the right person to lead the country again.
Yes, very interesting to hear that, John, from what you've just said about Luis Enrique. And with regards to Luis Enrique then, Mike, obviously you said there from what John thinks and what the locals in Spain think that is probably going to be the end for Luis Enrique. Out of the managers that are currently out of work or potentially in work in the Premier League, maybe one of these top clubs like Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, who do you think will be tempted by this Spanish job, considering they've gone to the semi-final? Do you think the Spanish FA will wait until after the World Cup, Mike, or do you reckon they will end it after this tournament, whether it be tonight or Sunday? Mike, I think you're on mute again, my friend.
Sorry about that. So, yeah, I was just going to say that I think it'd be very similar to the Roberto Martinez situation with Belgium. You know, of course, the World Cup is only coming around next year rather than in 2 years' time. So I think that, the fact that Spain have got through to a semi-final, even if they are to get beaten by the Italians now, Matt said it in the commentary. Remember, this Italy side of 32 games unbeaten and 13 games unbeaten in a row as well. Or is it 13 games without conceding or something like that? I can't remember what the stat was, but of course it's a very solid Italian side. They've won all their group games. Remember, in this tournament as well. So I do think Luis Enrique will probably be given the World Cup next year. But I was just having a little look. I wanted to see if there was any sort of odds on other people that would potentially go and take over at Spain. I'm not too sure what sort of names are being flung around, if there is anyone at the moment, because of course Luis Enrique, he was in position in 2018 to 2019. Then he was, out of the role when Robert Moreno took charge for a couple of months, and then he got, the position back again. And actually, they've only lost the one game as well. So I think with Spain, I'd probably say they'll stick it out until after the World Cup next year and go from there. But it will be interesting to see if there is any names that maybe John knows from the Spanish game, or other names that are being thrown around in maybe Spanish press, etc. Of anyone that's been rumoured if Luis Enrique was to depart.
And John, have you heard anything if Luis Enrique was to depart, who could potentially come in and replace him in the Spanish hot seat?
Funny enough, the only name that is coming up, which is also for the Madrid position at the moment, is Raúl. Raúl he seemed to be had a very influence in the media, and the media seems to love him, and he seemed to have his own influence on the people around him as well. So if Enrique does go, I would not be surprised if someone comes in like Raúl and take charge of the Spanish team. The only problem that would cause, of course, and the same as we've seen that with so many teams, including like Jürgen Klinsmann. As much as I love the guy, but like when he done with Germany, he done a very good job, but it was his first job as a manager. So, but we seem to have that sort of trend in the last few years when players becoming managers and top flights, including Frank Lampard, Klinsmann, and a few others, but they haven't actually got the right managerial experience to be or managers in that level, and hence why you see some teams are not getting up to speed, and they struggle a bit, if that is international or club level.
Yes, and don't forget the winners of this semi-final today will play the winners of England against Denmark, which is being played tomorrow, which you can hear on the commentary with JB. And of course, the brilliant success for us of the tournament is by having Justin Oit as one of the commentary team as well. And while we're here as well, just want to say we did a poll the other day to see who's the best, who you the viewers thought was the best commentator on the channel. And I'm delighted to say we've got the winner with us, and it's Mike Horniman. And Mike, just touching on that you got voted for as the commentator of the tournament from our viewers, Mike. If you could unmute when you're ready to speak, but have you got anything to say to the people that's voted for you, and to the people that you've worked with on the channel, like myself, John Kane, Matt, Nicholas, JB, Barry, Jack, and the others who's going to be joining us soon? What would you say to those who voted for you, and how big of a achievement do you think it has been for you to win the award?
Yeah, really grateful. Thank you very much for anyone that voted as well. It was, it comes as a surprise. Of course, we've got some fantastic commentators on the team, including yourself, John, Nick, Matt, JB, Jack, Barry. There's so many that, everyone deserves a special mention and sort of special award or, recognition for what they've put in over the tournament. But yeah, it was an honour to win it. It was, it was great to, of course, win the first part of it and then come up against JB in the second part for the overall and narrowly pip him out. I think it was by a vote or two. But, just thank you once again to everyone that voted. And as I said at the very beginning, it's a team. So, that it's dedicated to everyone.
Yes, absolutely. And we're just fetching Nicholas for a moment. And Nicholas, you was in the running for that, and you've worked with Mike quite a few times, whether he's presented for you or you've worked with him on some commentaries as well, Nicholas. How good do you think Michael's been throughout this tournament, Nicholas? Do you think he deserved to win that tournament, to win that award for you?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's certainly been really good behind the mic. One of the best commentators that we have. He really deserved to win that one, and I must confess, I wasn't aware of any commentator vote poll competition because I'd actually gone to bed by that point.
Yes, but we did put you in there, Nicholas, and he did run Mike quite by a close distance.
Yeah, it was very close, wasn't it? And just before we throw back to Nick and Matt, you were fantastic coming up to the game with the Denmark game as well, Nick. So you certainly weren't far behind me. And if you were going to win it, I would have had absolutely no qualms with that at all.
Yeah, I must remember to be awake and alert next time.
Yes, now it's time to hand back over to your match commentators. First of all, Nicholas Jones, he's alongside first match here is Matt Iles. Matt.
Thank you very much, Russ. Yeah, second half underway, as you've just mentioned. Only about 19 seconds of it anyway, as it's led to an Italy free kick with Leonardo Bonucci taking it. No changes made at the break, as we hope that this game will really spark into life. And that was a really poor, wayward ball by Leonardo Bonucci, as he just tried to play it out to the left-hand side. I'll read the teams out very, very shortly. Spain have the ball down the left with Oyarzabal. It's gone off an Italy foot. Marco Verratti, I think, was the man who got the touch last. Spain have a throw on the Italy right-hand side of the pitch, as Cesar Azpilicueta is going to take the throw in, looks forward. Oyarzabal has made the run to come short for it, pokes it through to Olmo. They come off a few Italy feet before it did manage to be cleared away by the Italian defence. Insigne has gone down under the challenge of Garcia, and it's a Italy free kick inside their own half. We'll just go through the two sides quickly from goalkeeper to attack. It's a 4-3-3 for Italy. So it's Donnarumma in goal, Di Lorenzo, Bonucci, Chiellini and Emerson the back four. Barella, Jorginho, Verratti the three in midfield with Chiesa, Immobile and Insigne. And then the subs Sirigu, Mere, Acerbi, Bastoni, Fiorenzi, Toloi, Locatelli, Pessina, Cristante, Berardi, Bernardeschi and Belotti. And Spain line up in the same formation, 4-3-3. Simon in goal, Azpilicueta, Garcia, Laporte, Alba, Koke, Busquets, Pedri, Torres, Oyarzabal and Olmo as the three up front. The subs De Gea, Sanchez, Llorente, Pau Torres, Jose Gaya, Rodri, Marcos Llorente, Fabian Ruiz, Thiago, Adama Traore, Gerard Moreno and Alvaro Morata, as Ferran Torres has the ball on the Italy right-hand side of their defence, but the flag is raised by Mark Borsch. 2 minutes gone. Italy 0, Spain 0 in the first semi-final at Euro 2020. Leonardo Bonucci is going to take this free kick and he goes short to Barella. Bonucci then plays it forward, looking for Insigne. Immobile left it because he thought Insigne was going to have the ball run on through to him in the middle, but Spain have it with Ferran Torres. And in that first half, Nicholas, we did see the Spanish go after the Italians when the Azzurri did have possession, especially sort of in the middle of the pitch. You think they would employ the same sort of tactics? As I'll come to you about that point in just a minute, as Insigne has got it from Simon's poor pass out to the right, as they've got the first corner kick of the second half. But just as I was sort of saying that about Spain, it's a different matter entirely, because Unai Simon has just played a really poor ball out to the right, which has led to a Italy corner, and he's potentially digging himself a hole here.
Yes, it looks like he might be, but we'll have to see what happens with this Italy corner.
Insigne is going to take the corner, and it goes from the left-hand side. It is defended well by the Spanish defence, and in particular Laporte. The header has gone all the way through to the number 18, Jordi Alba, but it's defended well enough by the Italians, as Barella then gives it to Emerson down the left-hand side. His pass is cut up by Azpilicueta, who then gives it straight to Di Lorenzo. Looks for Immobile. He's putting Laporte under pressure, and Immobile does get the shot away in the end, but it trickles well wide of the goal. And in fairness, he has won a corner for that as well, because I think it's actually taken the last touch off Aymeric Laporte. But that one ball forward down the heart of the Spanish defence was bamboozling Laporte a little bit, and Immobile was causing a problem there and actually did get on the end of it as well.
Yes, he certainly was causing a few problems, but Laporte did well to deal with that one.
Yeah, he just about did well enough in the end, as he just lost track and lost sight of where the ball was. The Spanish have the attack now on the right with almost a really good delivery. Ferran Torres was arriving to attack it at the back post. Di Lorenzo had to touch it out for a corner. It's a dangerous cross to deal with as a defender, but it was valiantly done by Giovanni Di Lorenzo there, as he's actually touched it off with his right thigh as well.
Yes, that was very well dealt with by Donnarumma. It was just unlucky for Torres that the touch from his thigh didn't produce the goods.
Well, yeah, it was Di Lorenzo that actually just knocked it away with his foot, actually, as Torres was arriving on it. So, of course, it was a different body part that meant that it was knocked out for a Spain corner. Chance for them to create something here, and it goes by Koke. Donnarumma comes out, pushes it out to the edge of the box. Alba knocks it to Oyarzabal. Alba to Oyarzabal again. He clips it forward. It's gone off an Italy foot. Gone all the way out to the left with Koke. Defended well enough by the Italians. And then Busquets goes in on Immobile. And that is a free kick to Italy. And it's going to be a caution for Sergio Busquets with that foul. I think that's a foul just to say that you've done one too many. And Felix Brych issues the yellow card and raises it towards Sergio Busquets' direction.
Yes, I completely agree with him. He's roughed up one too many players, so completely deserved that yellow card.
Yeah, yellow card is what Busquets get. And, of course, when midfielders do usually get, but you do worry that, of course, they might get a second one. But Busquets is usually one of those players that does keep its discipline intact and doesn't often get drawn into making silly fouls on yellow cards. But the kick from Donnarumma is, well, the free kick, I should say, inside their own half has gone out to the right-hand flank and is one that has gone over the head of the Italian player on that right-hand side and sees Spain have a throw as Laporte now has it at centre-back. Of course, what a sort of scoop it was to get him. Of course, he's French-born, but the years that he had at Athletic Bilbao meant that he was able to be a Spanish player, persuaded by Luis Enrique to play for La Roja. That's lovely play by Immobile, nearly gets it through to Emerson. It's a good sliding challenge on the right by Azpilicueta. Now Oyarzabal. Now he's got Busquets. He's got Torres alongside him. Now to Busquets, who shoots and curls one. And he's curled it just over the bar. He was not too far away, was the Spanish skipper. He found himself in a really sort of unnatural position for himself, high up the pitch. He got it from that layout from Oyarzabal, and he's curled it over the bar, and not too far over at all. That's the closest that Spain have come just 7 minutes into the second half.
Yes, very close indeed from Busquets. He aimed with his right foot, but the shot was powerful enough, but unlucky just to miss it.
Here's Insigne now for Italy. Now he gives it in the middle to Barella. Thought about the shot, but then decides to play it out to the right to Chiesa. He's going to shoot a goal. It's a shot that goes under the legs of Alba, but Unai Simon saves. It did maybe look like he was going to get it just beyond the Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper at first glance, but it's just gone through to Simon, who dived to his right and managed to keep it in his grasp at the first time of asking, rather than spilling it out to a blue shirt in the Spain box.
Yes, very well defended by Simon. Chiesa did everything right. It was just unfortunate that it did not go through Simon.
Yeah, it certainly did. And now it's just in the space of just sort of 30 seconds. Chiesa had a shot on target. Before that, Busquets had that curling effort that was central, went over Donnarumma, but unfortunately went over the crossbar. So in the space of just sort of that little period, we did have two decent opportunities for either side. 8.5 minutes of the second half played. Italy 0, Spain 0. 53 minutes exactly played, or just above it, as I should say, in the first Euro 2020 semi-final, of course. England-Denmark is tomorrow at Wembley. with England, of course, looking to reach their first major tournament final in 55 years. Can they do it? John Stuttard and Justin Hoyt, the former Sunderland, Arsenal and Middlesbrough defender, are on the mic for that. And of course, for any of our Arabic listeners, there is alternative commentary to that. We'll tell you the details of that very, very shortly. As Koke has the ball on the right-hand side, plays it back to Mikel Oyarzabal. Now it's with Garcia, Laporte, through the middle to Ferran Torres, his Manchester City teammate. Now out onto the right with Garcia. Now gives it to Azpilicueta. In the middle now to Koke is Laporte. Do often see him do that for Manchester City. Just drop into that midfield position just try and keep the attack alive. Here is now Garcia. Now Laporte. Just trying to see any weakness in the Italian defence, who are staying alert to the Spanish possession. Azpilicueta now to Koke. Italy quite happy to just let Spain do this, aren't they? It's just only when they get around the sort of 18-yard area, that's when maybe the panic starts to rise as Laporte plays it high, looking for Alba to run onto it, but Di Lorenzo just shielded out of play for a goal kick. And smart defensive nous there by Giovanni Di Lorenzo there to defend that well. And as I get Nicola's thoughts on that, they're about to bring a change on in Domenico Berardi.
Yeah, certainly good bit of defending by Di Lorenzo and the rest of the Italian defenders, but that was mighty close.
Yeah, the ball, of course, was the right intention for Jordi Alba, but I think Di Lorenzo actually fooled him so much so that Alba went the other way when really Di Lorenzo just shut off the inside line as opposed to the outside. Here is Busquets to receive it from Azpilicueta. Goes to Dani Olmo. Got it under control, but Verratti had a foot in on it. But no foul, says the referee. And he now has the ball, the little enigmatic maestro in the middle for the Italians. Berardi will be coming on very, very shortly. He's just receiving instructions from the coaching staff. Out now on the Spain right. Emerson with the low cross in. Poor delivery. Doesn't beat the first man. And Eric Garcia, who was that first man, is able to comfortably pass it out to Azpilicueta. Olmo puts the pressure on Bonucci, who's not at times had the best of evenings. Gives it now to Pedri. He'll venture forward. Slides it to the left with Ferran Torres. He'll then try and shoot on his right foot, and it's closed down well by Di Lorenzo, who's defended really well tonight for Italy. And of course, again, if Ferran Torres looked up, there was an opening on this right-hand side, which I think actually Koke was making that run on too, as Dani Olmo commits a foul on the Italy left-hand side. But it's just a case of, isn't it, just selfish play by the Spanish at times in this game has led to them having the scoreline still at 0-0, hasn't it?
Yes, very selfish play from the Spanish midfielders and forwards who wanted their own chance at goal. They should have spread it out a bit more. That way, they could have at least had one or two goals.
Well, the left-hand side for the Italians at times has been really open. Emerson, of course, the Chelsea man, he's more of an attacking fullback than a defensive one. And the gap created there, and it was just that hole behind him was completely there to see. But unfortunately, the Spanish winger Ferran Torres just did not pick out Koke, made the run to his right, as Nicholas alluded to, as he spread out. Here is Oyarzabal, who goes for goal. He's on target. It was a real rasping effort, but it's straight at Gianluigi Donnarumma, who just makes that catch look pretty effortless and pretty easy.
Yes, a very easy save from, by Donnarumma. It's just that Torres did aim correctly.
Immobile just trying to get away from Laporte, but it's good defensive play by Laporte. Immobile just tries to poke it through to Chiesa, defended well by Jordi Alba, who was a man who's very, very quick. When he has to just try and defend, he's very, very pacey, isn't he? And he got in the right position to do so. Here is now Koke to Sergio Busquets. Now Pedri. Now he's going to carry on his run through the middle. Now out to the left with Ferran Torres. Going to give it back to Pedri. He's got his back towards Donnarumma. Gives it to Alba. Now Busquets. He's got three players alongside him. Finds Oyarzabal. Now to Koke. He'll go to the right with Azpilicueta. The Spanish, of course, with no height in Morata or Gerard Moreno. They, of course, know that they've just got to try and either get a low cross in or just play through the Italian defence in midfield. And that's what the tactic is at the moment. That's what the game plan is Laporte. Now to Olmo, turns from Verratti. Free kick is not given. Challenge is going in. Won by Busquets, and then Torres to Alba, but his cross on the left-hand corner of the box is a straight one, which Donnarumma deals with, and he rolls out to Verratti and actually comes out of his own area. Here's Insigne now to Immobile. This might be the moment for the Italians. Great sliding challenge by Laporte. Here's Chiesa, though. He might go for goal. Chiesa does! Chiesa scores! He's done it again at Wembley. Federico Chiesa! He got the chance! And he opened up and bent it in beyond Unai Simon. And this second half, he's come alive, as have the Azzurri. It's Italy 1, Spain 0. It's Federico Chiesa again at Wembley. And Italy are dreaming of returning here on Sunday in the Euro 2020 final.
Absolutely brilliant finish by Federico Chiesa. He took advantage of the pass by his teammates. Poorly, he did really well to get through past Simon. He took advantage of a pass from Immobile and just fired it in, no problem, straight into the corner of the net, and Italy have the lead as a result.
Well, Laporte made the sliding challenge. He just didn't get it enough away, did it? And it went straight to Chiesa, who then was shown the inside courtesy of Eric Garcia, and he's just curled it beyond the goalkeeper Unai Simon. And Chiesa, of course, who actually looked like he was actually going to come off. Domenico Berardi was patiently waiting on the side to come on. I think that sub might have just been aborted now, if it was to be him, or it was to be Lorenzo Insigne. But those Italy fans behind that goal, where Chiesa shot from, exploded when that went in as Chiesa's knee slides to the right-hand side of the pitch, as Berardi has now gone on for the Azzurri. But it's going to be a big 29 minutes for Spain. The side, of course, who were dumped out of this competition 5 years ago by this very same opponent they're playing tonight, have got it all to do if they are to take this to extra time. Alvaro Morata has come on for Spain, so Luis Enrique has decided to throw on a recognised striker to try and get Spain back in this game immediately as possible. With Morata going on, you think, Nicholas, this might just mean that they're going to start putting high balls into the box.
Yeah, should have done so sooner, in my view. But he's on now, so that could well play into their hands. And forgot to mention that. Forgot to also say that you could say that Chiesa's opportunity, which he took from Laporte, was like taking candy from a baby.
Absolutely, that's a great line. You could say that as the subs have been confirmed. Immobile's gone off, Berardi's gone on, so Italy almost playing without a recognised striker, and Ferran Torres has gone off and Morata has gone on. And in terms of out of the three, you'd have to say Ferran Torres in the attacking sense has been quite quiet compared to Oyarzabal and Olmo. Pedri to Alba, cross goes in. Chiellini with the header, but he's actually managed to head it out for a corner kick, but he still gets rapturous sort of high fives and fist bumps from his Italian teammates on the pitch as the Spanish fans attack the north side of Wembley in front of a sea of red and yellow shirts. Alvaro Morata's just come on, and with his first touch, can he maybe get a goal for Spain, or anybody for that fact? If Oyarzabal takes, he gets it in there. Busquets was the target, but it was over his head well before it went to him as he tried to head it towards goal. And it's now back with Unai Simon. Now with Pedri. Gets away from Chiesa. Now gives it to Olmo and wins the throw as Chiellini steps in to challenge Dani Olmo. But of course, we saw Nicholas Friday, the Italians have to defend pretty much for 15, 20 minutes against Belgium. They might look to do that, of course, if the game sort of just wears on and sees it still at 1-0 as it gets closer towards the end. They might just employ the same sort of tactics to hold on.
Yes, and they could well be using the same tactics to wear Spain down, but it remains to be seen if they can actually do that, because Spain still look pretty aggressive to me right now.
Well, they're trying to get back in the game as quickly as they can. They might have just ramped up the intensity of the way they're playing at, but so far they're just sort of still keeping the ball. But of course, they're desperate to get back in the game. As Azpilicueta puts the ball in, Jorginho and Emerson and Verratti both went in for it. Jorginho's clearance has gone off a Spain player. Alba to Koke. Cross goes in. Oyarzabal has got to get contact on that and get it goalwards. Luis Enrique knows it. Oyarzabal knows it. He puts his shirt into his face. He knows that that is an absolute gaping chance. What a stood-up cross it was by Koke. He's just clipped it in. An absolutely tantalising ball in. Oyarzabal onside. Chiellini was playing him on, and he's just not made a good enough contact on it. Oh, how big a miss that is for La Roja.
He must be bitterly disappointed with that. An opportunity was found, and he just missed it. Actually kicked the post in frustration.
Well, he knows it was a golden chance. So does everybody in Spain and supporting the national team. What a chance it was. 20 minutes of the second half gone. In total, we played 65 minutes. Italy 1, Spain 0. Federico Chiesa's goal with an hour gone is the difference between the two sides. And a game you're listening to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. Koke will get the cross in. In it goes. It's easy for Bonucci to head away and heads it well away as Laporte picks it up. Remember, we're on the Commentary Hub's YouTube channel. We're on Mike Harneman's YouTube channel. We're on JB Sports. We're on the Commentary Hub's Periscope page, and we're also on the Commentary Hub's Twitch page. And of course, England-Denmark, the second semi-final at Wembley Stadium. The winners of that will play, as it stands, Italy in the final on Sunday. Catch John Stuttard and Justin Hoyt, the former Middlesbrough, Sunderland and Arsenal defender, on the mic for that. And of course, our Arabic viewers, if you do fancy listening by Arabic commentary, as Olmo gets the ball from Oyarzabal into his path, and he strikes it first time as he arrives onto it on the volley, but he puts it wide. And Olmo's connection was right, but as it was just trickling towards the goal and getting closer, he's just gone off target, hasn't he? He's just almost gone across it and sliced it, hasn't he?
Yes, it looked like it very much did get across and a slice, but it didn't pay off. And just looking at the disappointments on Olmo's face, he knows that the opportunity could very much have been his.
Absolutely. Italy take the kick with Bonucci, who was actually taken on the corner of the box as he got it from Donnarumma. Spain win it back there inside their own half with Morata. Just before, of course, that Dani Olmo chance, I was saying, you can listen to John Kane provide Arabic commentary on Sunday for the final through his channel JDAC Football, of course. So any Arabic listeners of ours, do feel free to tune into his coverage of that. Believe me, it will be good coverage, of course. He is a very, very good commentator, is John Kane. Here's Chiesa, he's in now the Spain box. Sides it through to Berardi, straight at Simon. He took it first time, Berardi had a lot more time than what he did. And he just hits it straight at Simon, who covered his near post to his left and made the save. But if Berardi looked up and realised he had all the time to pick his spot and go to the far corner, and obviously realised that he wasn't offside, you'd probably have to assume that Italy would go 2-0 up, wouldn't you, Nicholas?
Yes, it looked to me as though he dawdled for a fraction of a second too long. Had he been more aware and concentrated a bit more, Italy could well have been 2-0 up.
Absolutely. That far side of Simon's goal to his right was absolutely gaping, wasn't it? And if he managed to just hit the ball in that spot, you would have assumed it would have gone in and it would have been curtains for Spain in terms of then getting back into this contest. Here's Pedri now, gets it from Laporte. Now to Eric Garcia. As Spain, since going a goal down, have bossed it, but haven't got anything to show for it. As they look like they're going to bring on some changes. 2 more, in fact. We'll bring who that will be in just a second. It'll be their second and third change of the night as well, to coincide with Alvaro Morata going on, of course. He knows all about Leonardo Bonucci and Giorgio Chiellini, doesn't he, from his days being at Juventus this season and, of course, in the previous years gone by. he'll be hoping that he can get the better of the two teammates that he's with. As Bonucci did confirm this week, they are two very good friends. But of course, tonight they're enemies as both their countries collide. Bonucci with the clearance. Down on the ground is Barella. He wins a free kick as Olmo catches him. He says he got the ball. Felix Breich doesn't think so. And to be fair, Danny Olmo is right in his protestations when he says he managed to get the ball there on that one, didn't he? As the referee, Felix Breich, gives a free kick to Italy to just allow the game to just breathe for a second, which Italy will no doubt be delighted about, I would expect.
Yes, it did look. Yes, I think I might have to agree with you on that one, Matt. He did touch the ball momentarily with his foot. It was just unlucky that whoever it was went down.
It was Barella that went down, and of course there is two more changes for Spain. Rodri's gone on for Koke, and Oyarzabal has gone off, and Gerard Moreno has gone on. Of course, Moreno, who had a fantastic season with Villarreal, has found the tournament so far quite hard going for himself on a personal note. As Oyarzabal, he is as Gerard Moreno, he did manage to find the back of the net in their warm-up game and has yet to score at Euro 2020, and he did miss a penalty in their draw with Poland in their second group game just over 2 weeks ago. Rodri to Garcia. Now Aymeric Laporte. High cross to the right-hand side of the box, headed on by Moreno. Chiellini there. Here's Olmo now in the centre. Pedri turns, gives it to Alba. He's got a lot to run into. Does clip it high to the back post. Donnarumma tries to get up. As Piliqueta went into the back of him, despite Emerson heading it out for a corner. And it's an Italy free kick as there was an easy nudge in the back from Cesar Piliqueta there on Gianluigi Donnarumma, who was trying to catch the ball but completely missed it. But of course, there was circumstances as to why he missed that.
Yes, quite a few circumstances as to why he missed. But Italy still managing to hold on to their 1-goal lead.
19 minutes of the game to go, plus stoppage time perhaps, however long that will be. Pessina and Toloi for it are going to come on soon. Barella gives it now to Berardi. He's going to come on the inside, is he? Alba with the challenge, good one as well. Has it gone out of play as Simon tries to keep it in play? It's gone for a throw-in rather than a corner, so Simon has done something quite effective there. You could say the Bilbao goalkeeper. It's been quite an eye-opening tournament for him. Individually, Unai Simon, of course, has kept David De Gea out of the team. Played every game of the tournament. Of course, he made that monumental error against Croatia in the round of 16 8 days ago, in which, of course, he couldn't get a ball under control from a long way out, and it went beyond him and into the net as, of course, Spain found themselves a goal down in that game. They won 5-3. They've only won one game in 90 minutes, Spain. It's very similar to Portugal 5 years ago, isn't it? Where, of course, they only managed to win their first game in 90 minutes in their semi-final win over Wales. And Donnarumma tried to give it to Leonardo Bonucci, and it was cut out by Morata, but it's gone out of play for an Italy throw, despite Morata's heavy touch. So there's two changes here. It's going to be the Atalanta pair of Matteo Pessina and Rafael Toloi. Verratti's evening is over. The little man who plays his cover for Paris Saint-Germain. Another good performance from him. Marco Verratti, been a real important player for this Italy side for a number of years now. And on comes Pessina, 2 goals for him in the tournament, as he will be coming on for Marco Verratti. And Toloi will also be coming on in place of Emerson, who his evening is over. Of course, filled in left back in place of Spinazzola. Had big shoes to fill. Has actually done well tonight as Emerson. And Toloi goes on, the Brazilian-born defender, for another appearance in an Italy shirt. So interested to see what these changes do, because it does actually see very early on that Toloi has actually gone to right back, and that Di Lorenzo's gone to left back, so not a real sort of formation change, but it is a tactical alteration anyway, isn't it, Nicholas, with the fullbacks changing sides?
Yes, tactics like this do count if Italy are to keep their lead, and they're doing so really effectively.
And of course, Di Lorenzo can play at left back, as can Toloi at right back, so it is nothing new there then. Simon and Laporte were just trying to get themselves out of a sticky situation, which they managed to do. Rodri pokes it back to Garcia in the box now with his goalkeeper, Unai Simon. 16 minutes to go. Italy 1, Spain 0 in the first Euro 2020 semi-final. Remember, the Azzurri have won 13 matches in a row going into this one. Make it now 14 as it stands. They're 32 matches unbeaten. That will be 33 if it stays like this for Spain. And Luis Enrique, of course, they were knocked out by the Italians under Antonio Conte in Saint-Denis 5 years ago in the round of 16, when Giorgio Chiellini, playing at centre-back for Italy, and Graziano Pella, the former Southampton striker, scored both the goals that day that saw Italy prevail and, of course, knock Spain off as European holders in that game in France. This time round in London, it is not quite going the way that Spain want. But of course, that can easily change in the blink of an eye with 15 minutes to go. Here is Rodri to Eric Garcia. Of course, remember, they've still got the likes of Adama Traore, where they could bring on Thiago on the bench. Moreno, Rodri, and Morata have come on for Spain so far. Italy have brought on Berardi, Pessina, and Toloi. So both sides have made 3 subs apiece. And, of course, do have the option to make 2 more in normal time. But should Spain score and it goes to extra time, there'll be an extra sub they can make as well. Good defending by Di Lorenzo against the Villarreal striker Gerard Moreno. Here's Laporte. Maybe now Italy, as I mentioned earlier, are going to start to do what they did against Belgium and just sit in on the 1-0 lead they've got. Morata gets it on the right-hand side of the box. He's going to try and cross it in. It's gone off Bonucci, and he wins a corner there. Bonucci just stood in front of him, didn't he? Just didn't allow Morata to get the shot on Donnarumma, first of all, and secondly, try and cut it back to Pedri, who was making the run. Really, really good defending there by Leonardo Bonucci.
Yes, great bit of defending by Bonucci. Did well to cut out Morata's cross.
Almost corner is a short one. Well, he went in to the box. It was too short. It was easily dealt with as Bonucci heads it away. It's now inside Spain's half with Garcia. So they've not really made corners count in this game at all, as Luis Enrique's side, and La Roja for that fact. Alba tries to get through to Olmo, but it's gone beyond him and into the path of Gianluigi Donnarumma, with the game ticking by. The last sort of quarter of an hour of this game, Nicholas. If you were Luis Enrique, what would you do now? I mean, he's got enough attacking quality. He's got enough, players who can get an equalising goal on the pitch. What does he do in terms of tactics?
He needs
to come through with Insigne, but then Unai Simon comes out and just clears the ball off his own player as it goes out for an Italy throw. Sorry to interrupt you there. It didn't look like there was an attack brewing for Italy, and it was just that one high ball, isn't it, that the Italians have seemed to get a lot of joy from in this second half, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. That high ball was very well done, but Simon was lucky to save that one.
Yeah, it was a clearance that just bounced off a Spanish player as Chiellini then just volleys it out to the left. Berardi gets it under control nicely. He's turning away from Azpilicueta. Now to Barella. Here is now Bonucci. Heavy touch, which Morata comes across to intercept. He actually nutmegs Bonucci, but can only nutmeg straight to Jorginho. High ball over on the left-hand side. Di Lorenzo will chase with Azpilicueta. He then gives it to Unai Simon. Now is Aymeric Laporte. Now to Eric Garcia. Spain now have possession inside their own half. Spain are going to make 2 more changes. It's going to be Adama Traore coming on, so they better get the lube out. Just like what the, not lube, the oil that's, of course, the Spanish, of course, what Wolves physios do when, of course, they he's playing for the Midlands side when he's going to be playing on that right-hand side. They oil him up so much so that it makes it hard for opponents to get near him and try and hustle him off the ball. As Azpilicueta now has it, it's the Italians are starting to push high and put the squeeze on as Garcia goes to Unai Simon. Now Garcia gets it back from Busquets out to the right with Azpilicueta as the Italians push high and don't allow Spain to come out with it. Here's Berardi, opens up on his left foot, goes for the curler, tries to catch Simon Cole, but Simon dived to his right and made the save. But Spain there just overdid it there, didn't they? Just trying to play out from the back, and they nearly got caught out.
Yes, terrible last minute defending there by Spain. Berardi did well to find a shot on the goal, but he just couldn't get through.
It's a Morata. Well, a chance. This is Morata scored. It's 1-1. Alvaro Morata equalises for Spain. A man who divides so much opinion back home has rescued the game, it looks like, for Spain, and has levelled it up with 10 minutes to go. And the fans cheering are the ones in red inside Wembley Stadium. Italy won, Spain won, and the man who plays his football in Italy for Juventus has drew Spain level. Game on now with 10 minutes to go. Italy won, Spain won.
It looks like being a very tight 10 minutes to go there as Spain have levelled with that one. Morata did well to break through the defence, and he just fired it in with his left foot, so straight into the side of the left side of the net. But no wonder Luis Enrique is so happy with that. But being very animated all evening, should probably get some throat sweets right now.
Well, he's animated for a good reason this time round as this large contingent of Spanish fans behind the goal celebrate as Alvaro Morata scores right in front of them. What a big moment it is for him. He's got himself another goal in this tournament, his third one overall, as Bonucci urges the Italian troops on. We're heading into extra time as it stands, and that now just really changed the complexion because it looked like Spain were actually going to bring on Marcos Llorente as their fifth and final change in normal time. But with Morata's goal going in, he's actually been told to sit back down. Here is now Roger on the right-hand side. Cross goes in. It goes off Nicolo Borello, and it's now a corner to Spain. And suddenly the ascendancy is with La Roja as they start to believe now that they might overturn this and not just see the game go to extra time, but themselves to win it, in fact.
Yes, they could well win this one if they keep on playing the way that they have been in the past minute or so. As here comes
Chiellini's made a bit of a mess of it and heads it behind. Busquets was arriving as well. Busquets actually gets up above Giorgio Chiellini, and he headed it across for Laporte to attack. He just goes a bit too quickly, trying to get on the end of it. It just goes away from him at the vital moment. But that was a real heart-in-mouth type of moment there for the Italian defence and fans inside Wembley. And, of course, all around the country is a free kick is now given for a foul by Laporte on Lorenzo Insigne, but suddenly it's all Spain, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly looks like it's all Spain. They've really started to show their true mettle. Maybe it's time for them to get revenge on Italy after over 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, their last win against them in the European Championships was in 2012 in the final in Kiev, so 9 years ago exactly. And of course, they did beat them in the World Cup qualifying in 2018 at the Bernabeu, which Spain won by 3-0 in September 2017. And that was actually down in infamy in Italy because they didn't actually qualify for the 2018 World Cup. Now they, of course, are, 32 matches unbeaten. And of course, are in a European Championship semi-final. Morata's made the run to the right-hand side, through from The pass by Moreno. He's on the corner of the box. Moreno gets it back. He checks, opens up on his left foot and curls it over. Goal kick is what's given. Moreno's shot was well off target. He set itself up nicely, delayed taking it on. But you have to say, Alvaro Morata gets his critics, but he's made a massive difference since he came onto the field of play.
He certainly has, and the way he scored with that one has really kick-started Spain's assault on the match.
Italy are going to make 2 changes. Barella comes off. Locatelli comes on. He could be, of course, playing his club football in London if rumours are true that he's going to Arsenal. But, of course, he's got Juventus after him as well. So off goes Barella. Locatelli goes on and Belotti will come on. So Roberto Mancini, who started the game with a striker, has not had one on the pitch for about sort of 20 minutes, has decided to put one on. As going off is Insigne, and replacing him is Andrea Belotti of Torino. And of course, we will see Azpilicueta go off and Marcos Llorente go on. So that is an attacking change for Spain. Central midfielder usually, but for Spain under Enrique is a right back. So both sides go for the juggler, aren't they? They're not going to try and settle for extra time.
No, they're really going to go for it. Do or die.
It is do or die. And of course, if there's no winner in the next 5 minutes, it will go to extra time. It's Italy 1, Spain 1, and a game you listen to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. Of course, we're on the Commentary Hub's official YouTube page. We're on JB Sports on YouTube. We're on Mike Arneman's personal YouTube. We're on the Commentary Hub on Periscope, and of course on Commentary Live on Twitch. Remember, tomorrow, the other semi-final, England in their first European Championship semi-final in 25 years, entertain Denmark, looking to reach their first major final in 55 years. John Stuttard and Justin Hoyt on the bringing you the game for that. And of course, on Sunday, we will bring you the final of Euro 2020 in English, but also in Arabic. John Kane is going to be bringing you Arabic commentary on his very own channel, JDAC Football. So any Arabic listeners listening tonight, or of course when John does do coverage, feel free to tune in on his alternative service to our English commentary. It's now on the Spanish left of their defence, cleared up the pitch by Olmo towards Morata. Olmo tries to get it under control. Foot in there first is by Pedri. Jorginho catches him, and then I think there was a boot by an Italian player just as he catches Pedri. There was certainly no malice in it. It was an accident, but Jorginho there with a challenge on Pedri that has led to a Spain free kick.
That did look nasty on Pedri. Just elbowed him straight in the back, and but the good news is he's back up on his feet, so he looks okay.
Yeah, he is back up on his feet. Luckily, no concern, and of course, no need to bring the medics on or the physios, of course, with any head injuries. Olmo gives it to Jordi Alba. Despite Olmo going down, space opens up on the Italy right-hand side is Morata, but he's just overran it. Poor play by Morata. He's had a lot of praise since he came on, but that was the bad of Morata there as he tried to take on Bonucci, but completely overcooked it and ran it out of play for a goal kick.
Yes, he was completely wrong-footed. It looked like he was going one way, but then changed direction at the last minute. So that's what's resulted in the goal kick.
Well, he was in the box as he tried to sort of just carry on with the run. Chiesa was nearly set free, and Unai Simon doesn't let the ball just sort of travel into his own box. Instead, he just kicks it out for a throw. Taken quickly by Di Lorenzo. Now Chiesa's opening goal saw Italy go in front before being cancelled out by Morata. 2 minutes to go. Here's Pessina out onto the left-hand side, crowded out by Rodri. Now it's with Di Lorenzo. Did just about keep it in play despite the Spanish appeals. Llorente gives it to Gerard Moreno. It has gone off Llorente as Italy have got a throw. 90 seconds of normal time to go. Italy 1, Spain 1 in the first of 2 semi-finals of Euro 2020 being played in London. of course, at Wembley Stadium, an iconic venue for two iconic teams, befitting really of what the game is and what it means to both these sides, of course. Whoever wins, whatever method it is, will be one step closer to getting their hands on the European Championship once again. Of course, these two nations know exactly how it feels to win it, as the ball was played into Pessina. He tried to give it to either Berardi or Bonucci, who made the run forward from centre-back, but it went straight to a Spanish player instead. Here is Rodri. Back to Unai Simon, who plays it to his left with Laporte. Spain have got to get it up there, which they do. Up towards Olmo, flicks it on. Can't flick it to Morata. Here's Chiellini. Plays it out with his right foot, or he looks like it does to Lorenzo, but he's overcooked it. And he's got out for a Spain throw. Taken by Marcos Llorente to Gerard Moreno. Sergei Karasev, the Russian fourth official, has got the fourth official sort of board in his right hand. The minutes are ticking by. 15 seconds to go until we know what the stoppage time will be. I can't think it'll be many, I must admit. Here's Olmo. Away from Toloi. He's trying to slide it through to Moreno. Chiellini slid in. Was there a hand in there? Felix Breich, the German referee, says no. Pessina now to Chiesa. He's got only Belotti to his right. He's got a whole swarm of Spanish players coming back and is defended absolutely superbly by the Spanish defence, and in particular, Pedri, to be precise. As we are now into the 90th minute, it's Italy 1, Spain 1. Laporte has the ball. Out now to Rodri. Is there going to be a winner in normal time? Garcia, 3 minutes have been added on. There's the official confirmation. We're 38 seconds into it. Here is now Rodri. No, sorry, Garcia. Now Olmo. Here is Llorente trying to race onto it. Di Lorenzo knocks it out for a corner kick on this right-hand side for Spain. They're the ones who believe, but they're just showing the penalty appeal now. Nicholas Jones and Chiellini can't do anything about that, can he? As the ball just cushions off his left arm, as he did get a toe to it first, didn't he? Good decision by the referee.
Yes, it didn't. Yes, it looked like he had nowhere to go but to just stop it with his hand after he did tap it with his foot. What he did was, in my view, within the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. Chiellini didn't know too much about it. The corner from Olmo on the right is defended well enough by the Italians. They headed it away and then stopped the shot coming in from the edge of the box from a Spanish player. Here's Pedri now to Laporte. Maybe just does feel like now Spain are just going to try and settle for extra time. Busquets with the ball, looking to try and get Olmo going through the middle as he catches Donnarumma, who just tried to get away from him. Felix Breich not intent on giving out yellow cards for fun. Here's Toloi. Down the line to Belotti, who will chase. Simon comes out and then collects the loose ball. And now rolls it out to Rodri. The Manchester City midfielder now with the ball at his feet could go to the right and does find the right back Llorente. Marcos, that is. Here's Busquets. Belotti robs it off him in midfield. Pessina. Chiesa. Looks to try and get Berardi to get his legs going on that right-hand side, but the flag is raised for offside as we're edging closer towards extra time, aren't we? As now Roberto Mancini and Luis Enrique have got to just think of a team talk and try and motivate their players as much as they can. As here's Gerard Moreno. Comes inside. Has to release the ball and does. Out to the left with Jordi Alba. Almost to his left. Goes in the middle to Busquets. Now Eric Garcia. Spain, remember, were taken at extra time by Croatia in the round of 16. They went all the way to penalties in St. Petersburg with Switzerland, and they will be going to extra time yet again in the first semi-final of Euro 2020. Federico Chiesa scored an hour into the match with that curling effort beyond Unai Simon after Laporte's sliding challenge fell straight to his feet. And then Alvaro Morata scored with around about 10 minutes of the game to go as he just rolled it beyond Gianluigi Donnarumma, who could do nothing to save it. Italy have already been taken to extra time before at Wembley in the round of 16. Spain have done it twice, both no strangers to it in this tournament. We're going to have 30 more minutes of football to decide who the winner is. It's Italy 1, Spain 1 after 90 minutes. Russ.
Yes, thank you very much there, Matt. And just before we get the thoughts of John Kane and Mike Connerman briefly while we wait for the first period of extra time gets underway, I just want to give a big shout out to a friend of mine, Mike's, who has had the second half of our coverage over on his channel over on twitch.tv. He is called Bearded Twig, all the way from Australia. He is tuned in. So thank you very much, Twig. Hopefully you're doing okay. And thank you for choosing our coverage for the match this evening. And before we get back to Matt and to Nicholas for the coverage of extra time, I'll just quickly go to John Kane. And John, you did say to us pre-match before we went on air that it'd go to extra time, and it has gone to extra time. Do you think Spain will win it in extra time, or do you think he's going to go to penalties, my friend?
I think from what I'm seeing at the moment, I mean, the second half, even though the Spanish conceded the early goal by Federico Chiesa, but they were actually more disciplined up to that point, and they were probably the better team in the second half. And the only problem is now with the Spanish is, can they keep that momentum going in the extra time period? And obviously, at this rate, it seems like the Spanish who's got bitter on the edge. If it does come to penalties, and it's going to be very hard to pick, isn't it? It's a lottery in the end of the day. We've seen people miss, big players missing penalties. We've seen Mbappe missing his, which cost France place in the next round, in the previous rounds. So it's going to be a lottery if it goes to penalties. But at this rate, I tell you what, I think I still fancy the Spanish to go through. And the goal, the Italian goal, however, was a brilliant goal. I love watching it. And being old myself and a big Sampdoria fan in Italy as well, Federico Chiesa is Enrico Chiesa, if anyone remember him, back in the day, played for Italy as well in the 90s, and for Sampdoria and Lazio as well, I believe. And he would be so proud of his son having that goal occurred inside the Spanish half. But it wasn't enough at the end of the day. But I'll stick to my guns still. I still think the Spanish will do the job tonight.
Yes, and Mike, hopefully we've got you with us, Mike, as well. How do you see this going, Mike? Do you reckon this could go to penalties, or do you think it'll be decided in the next 30 minutes that we've got on offer?
I think Spain can go on and win this now. They're certainly the side in the ascendancy for me. Morata got himself a goal there as well. And as I said to John in the private chat, I'm sure the Spanish media are loving up on him right now as well. And I do think Spain can go on and nick this. Of course, the Italians, got the opening goal, really well taken goal by Chiesa as well. But then since Spain got their equaliser, and even just a little bit before that, they were the side in the ascendancy for me. So I think that this could be the biggest test for the Italians now. To see what they can do and whether they're able to go on and get over the line here now. But for me, I think I'm going to go Spain as well. I think there'll be a goal in extra time, so I think Spain will nick it in extra time in the next 30 minutes or so.
Yes, and to find out if you are correct, Mike, and if John is correct that Spain are going to win, let's hand back up to your match commentators. Nicholas Jones is alongside Matt Isles for the first half of extra time.
Thank you very much, Russ. Yeah, we'll go to you right at the end of the first half of extra time. Will we see any goals, or will we see what usually happens in extra time? Tired legs really creep in and just be really amongst it, and those players on the pitch, of course, as it wears on and it stays at 1-1. Both sets of managers and coaching staff do sort of toy with the idea of penalties. But of course, the Italians have won a game in extra time, as have the Spanish. Italy won against Austria in the round of 16. Spain did it against Croatia in Copenhagen. So both sides know what it means to flex their muscles in the first period of extra time and, of course, win it with 30 more minutes played. Will it be the same story for one of these two sides, as Spain still will follow the lead of what Portugal did 5 years ago. And they, of course, will still have the fact that they've only won one game in 90 minutes hanging over their head. So you could say they are made for extra time. Here's Olmo away from Toloi, and is fouled as there was a little arm in the back. Free kick given as Olmo is somebody who's really tried for Spain to, come short for the ball, get the attacks going. He's looked sharp tonight, but the only thing that's been missing for him is that goal, isn't it? And he's won his free kick there.
Yes, he certainly has been very strong throughout this game. But like you say, it's just a shame that he hasn't been able to convert his efforts into goals. Maybe he might from this free kick.
But it's going to be taken by Olmo, as Nicholas has alluded to. It's a delivery in there looking for Moreno. The Italians had everybody back. It was a real deep line that they had. They've actually won a free kick for that, as Rodri was penalised for a foul on Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Of course, was very good at right back. And I think, to be fair as well, when he stepped in at left back with Emerson going off, he's filled that role very, very well as well tonight, hasn't he, as Giovanni Di Lorenzo?
Yes, he certainly has proven to be a very effective defender, as it looks like.
There's Alba
Berardi.
Alba and Berardi, yes, have just had a bit of a coming together there. It did sort of just look like Alba caught Berardi's foot, and Alba's felt something there as well. Quite interesting to see how Alba feels about that. Berardi's just sort of walking it off, so he looks okay. So it doesn't actually look like there's a great deal of concern. And of course, we are 2.5 minutes into the first half of extra time. Italy won, Spain won. There are 2 balls on the pitch before, of course, the right back for Italy, Toloi, kicks the ball nearest to him out of play for the other ball on the pitch to be kicked back to Leonardo Bonucci. Forward ball he plays to Andrea Belotti, but it's overhit and straight to Unai Simon. And the Italians, really, for all the sort of quality that we've seen them have with their midfield throughout this tournament, they've not even been used tonight, have they? They've almost just tried to get, when Immobile was on the pitch, him in behind the 2 defenders in the middle for Spain. And it's been the same with Belotti coming on, hasn't it? They've been pretty one-dimensional tonight.
Yeah, it looks like they've started to. Tail away a bit, because Spain are just taking advantage of them one too many times.
They are taking advantage of them, but yet so far the scoreline remains level. Italy won, Spain won the first semi-final of Euro 2020. And the second one tomorrow is England versus Denmark. England in their first European Championship semi-final since 1996, where, of course, it was at Wembley Stadium, and in England, it will be at Wembley tomorrow. John Stuttard and former Middlesbrough, Sunderland and Arsenal defender Justin Hoy will be on the mic for that one alongside John Stuttard. Here's Moratu's equaliser has sent this game into extra time. Now it's with Aymeric Laporte. Garcia now for Spain. Llorente gets it from him, and then he goes all the way back to Unai Simon. Of course, there is the option, Nicholas, to make a 6th sub, remember, due to it going to extra time. And of course, there is an option as well for both sides to make an extra sub along top of that. So they've got 2 subs left to make. Italy have only got 1 they can make. The Spanish have got 2. If you were Spain manager Luis Enrique, who would you look to try and bring on? I mean, Adama Traore, would you look to try and bring on, given his, accelerated pace that he's got? I mean, he is a real brute, isn't he? He's a real force when he is running at you, isn't he? And he could really harm the defensive legs and tired legs as well as the Italian defence.
Great minds do indeed think alike. I will have to go with. I would also have to go with Traore. You certainly read my mind.
Well, they do say great minds think alike. I'm not sure if that's it in our case. As Belotti is down on the ground, he just tried to flick it over the head of Garcia, who was competing with him, and there was that little arm in the back from Garcia. It was quite a little subtle one, as Berardi did fall to the ground pretty heavily on his back. As he was saying there was a little elbow in there, but Phoenix Bright, the referee, says no. So play has just been halted for now as Roberto Mancini walks towards the technical area with his arms in his pocket. Luis Enrique very much just sort of in conversation with one of his coaching staff as he sort of leans on the London sign that, of course, is in between both technical areas and both benches. Toloi's pass goes straight to Jordi Alba on the left-hand side as he just lets it run out of play for a throw. And so nothing really in the way of chances in extra time yet to spark into life. Italy won, Spain won. Of course, they met in Euro 2008. It went all the way to penalties where Spain won. And of course, the rest was history as they managed to win the tournament in Austria and Switzerland, beating Germany in the final. They met twice at Euro 2012. It was a 1-1 draw in Gdansk, where Antonio Di Natale put the Italians in the lead in the group stage before Fabregas just a few minutes later equalised. And then the final, Spain won by 4-0. Then they would meet at Euro 2016, where Italy would get their revenge for their Euro final defeat by winning by 2-0, courtesy of Giorgio Chiellini playing at centre-back tonight, and Graziano Pella getting the goals in Saint-Denis that ended Spain's reign as champions of Europe. Morata gets it from Pedri. Now to the left with Dani Olmo. He's got options to look for, and then he's been fouled by Toloi. That was a cynical foul by the Italy right back, and he could have no complaints at that. That was a pretty easy yellow card for Felix Brych, the German referee, to give, as Olmo was skipping and racing away past Toloi.
Yep, cynical is the word. Toloi just stuck out his leg. Olmo had nowhere to go, so deserving of that yellow card.
Yeah, Toloi knew that Olmo got around him. He was never going to catch him. Olmo is a pretty speedy character and has got that explosive pace that he does possess, and of course has won a free kick for his side. He drills it in low. Donnarumma powers it. Here's Morata who shoots, but Chiellini clears, and it's gone off Busquets and out of play for a corner to Spain is the verdict by Felix Brych, but that was a free kick that surprised everybody in blue and white in there. Donnarumma, you have to say, Nicholas, sees that one late and parried it back into the mix, and Italy just about defended it there, didn't they?
How close could you get to breaking ahead? But Spain know that this was an opportunity missed.
Well, they were the Italians. You have to give them a bit of credit. Did defend that well enough. Chiellini was back in front of his goalkeeper to be the last line of defence as an outfielder, if you like, to keep that one at bay. And, of course, did just about enough. And actually wasn't a corner. It's actually given us a goal kick, in fact, as a result of it. And it didn't actually come to anything, that goal kick. High ball by Toloi. Got to be careful now for the rest of extra time with the 22 minutes remaining of it. We're 9 minutes into this first period of it, with 6 minutes of the first half to go. Jorginho is crowded out, goes down rather theatrically, and then he fouls Pedri, and Spain have got a free kick just inside Italy's half. And again, it's been quite an accomplished performance by the young Pedri, hasn't it, Nicholas, tonight?
Yes, it certainly has. He's been quite a danger on the pitch, and helping out his players. His teammates really well. So full marks to Pedri.
And Simon gets it from Marcos Llorente, as Laporte now has it. Of course, John Kane and Mike in the sort of preview for extra time was saying that they did fancy, well, Mike was certainly saying that he fancied a Spain goal. Will we get one in extra time? Or for that fact, a goal just in any case, as Spain have got a free kick here, as Felix Brych has spotted that Dani Olmo was clattered into by Matteo Pessina. And he's been on the deck a few times as the Spanish winger. And, of course, has not certainly shied away from it. Has certainly got a few scars, I would imagine, in the morning after this game. If, of course, it'll be all worth it if Spain are to prevail in extra time or even on penalties for that fact. That is where it's heading. As Garcia now goes to his centre-back partner Laporte, back to Unai Simon. And does just maybe feel like, Nicholas, the Italians are just conserving their energy. They've ran themselves enough into the ground as it is, especially with sort of the early part of the second half and the majority of that first half where they were playing high and pressing the Spanish.
Yes, it remains to be seen whether they've got anything in reserve, but Spain have done really well to wear them down throughout the second half. But whether Italy have got something in the reserve tank, we'll just have to see.
That is what it comes down to, isn't it? Have they got anything in the tank? It's the same for Spain. That actual fact as well, as the fatigue isn't quite kicking in yet, but of course as it gets towards the latter stages of extra time, it does certainly start to creep in even more as players do go down with cramp, but there's been no such thing of that yet so far. Out to the right by Rodri is Gerard Moreno, crosses on his left foot, Morata attacks it, Donnarumma with a foot away, Llorente shoots, Bonucci in the way of it, vital block as well by Bonucci. Llorente, to be fair, didn't really get a hold of it. Hit it into the ground. He'll be disappointed by that, but it's still got to be defended well by a blue shirt. And Bonucci, full marks to him for that, but the attack is still not over yet. There is Gerard Moreno. Through it goes towards Dani Olmo was his target, but Jorginho followed him, and the ball has just gone all the way through to Gianluigi Donnarumma. But Marcos Llorente there was arriving onto it. Just didn't get a good enough connection on it there, did he?
No, it didn't. But Morata was actually close to it, but it looked to me as though Donnarumma just knocked him out of the way.
Yeah, he just was convincing there, wasn't he? Was Gianluigi Donnarumma. It was a really good punch away. He's done that a lot tonight, rather than just catching it as Donnarumma. He is good with his fists and punching the ball away, and of course does punch it quite a way out. He only sort of punched it about sort of 7 or 8 yards to Llorente, but fortunately for him, Llorente couldn't make it count as Bonucci was in the way of it. Bonucci plays it high towards Belotti, who's offside. He started in an offside position even before that ball was played, Andrea Belotti. And his impact from the bench, of course, has not quite been there so far. Of course, they did spend about 20 minutes, the Italians, without a recognised striker when Immobile went off just inside the sort of 61st minute. And then Belotti came on, of course, sort of in the last sort of 10, 15 minutes of normal time. 13 minutes of extra time gone. 2 minutes to go the first period of it. Italy 1, Spain 1. On a game listening to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. We're on the Commentary Hub's official YouTube page. We're on JB Sports, our partner throughout the Euros, and Mike Arneman's personal YouTube. Through it goes by Olmo, looking for Morata. Morata once again making the run, trying to stretch the two centre-backs, but almost passed. Just felt a little bit rushed there, didn't it? But since Morata's come on, he's very much tried to do that, isn't he? He's really made Chiellini and Bonucci really have to think about where Morata is at all times, haven't they?
Yes, Yes, Morata has made quite the impression ever since he came on. They've had to. His teammates have had to try and find ways to get to him, but it just didn't pay off this time.
Belotti flicks it all the way out of play for a Spain throw. Pessina was coming back from an offside position, as there's going to be anxious fans in and amongst the crowd. Remember, the second semi-final will be live on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. John Stuttard and Justin Hoyt will be your men behind the mics, bringing you that one as England look to reach their second major final. And of course, standing in their way are the Danes, the 1992 European Championship winners. And of course, for the final, as well as English commentary, we're providing you Arabic commentary. John Kane is your man for that on his very own YouTube channel, which will be J Back. I'll just try and find the channel for you now. It is JDAC Football, I should say. Took me a long time to work that one out. Here's Marcos Llorente. Low cross goes in. He fizzes it in. Bonucci can only clear it to Moreno. And then Chiellini just about gets it away from there. Spain are probing, but the Italians are resisting any Spain probe that they're throwing at the Azzurri, aren't they?
Yes, they certainly are managing to resist Spain's advances. Perhaps they're starting to learn a few things from them as the first half of extra time has now been closed.
Yeah, it is. first half of extra time that is done and dusted. 1-0 it is. No goals. The only real chance of note, Donnarumma parried to Morata, which he didn't really get a hold of. Llorente went close as well, but Bonucci was in the way of it. Chiellini was in the way of a Morata shot. We've got another 15 more minutes, and should it stay like this, it'll be going to penalties. As Spain already know what it takes to win on penalties. It looks like they might have to do it again if they are to reach the final on Sunday at Wembley. Over to Russ to go through the first period of extra time and the analysis alongside John Kane and Mike Arneman.
Yes, and great first period of extra time end-to-end stuff. And before we do that, I just want to let people know, if you're listening to this coverage over on Storm FM this evening, the Chill Tuesdays with Mike Arneman will be following us straight after the conclusion of this game. So we will have the conclusion of this match, and then Mike will go live with his Chill Tuesdays show. But speaking of Mike, you can hear him now as Mike gives me his thoughts on our first period of extra time. Mike.
So, yeah, I thought that was a really interesting first half of extra time there. I think, you know, Spain have looked bright. They've looked very sort of, you know, well organised at the back. They've also, you know, had a couple of opportunities in there as well. You know, the Italians have had a few chances themselves. But I think that, you know, I'm going to stick to what I said. I think Spain will go on, and I can see them nicking it. I can see them grabbing a goal in the next 15 minutes now, and then just sitting back on that and seeing it out.
Yes, thank you very much, Mike. And John, do you see Spain still going through?
I still say Spain are going through, and just the introduction of Morata and Moreno up front has been absolutely crucial for Spain. And I think that'll be the key for Spain progressing if they do.
Yes, and brief chat there with myself, Mike and John Kane, but right now, back over to Nicholas and Matt for the second period of extra time. Don't forget, Storm FM listeners, Mike Arneman's Chill Tuesdays will be on the way next.
Thank you very much, Russ. Yes, Nicholas Jones alluded on commentary, didn't he, to the fact that it does maybe look like Spain are starting to wear the Italians down as Chiesa and Luis Enrique share a smile and share a bit of a chat with one another. Of course, as there is so much on the line. One will fall at the penultimate hurdle stage, whilst the other one, of course, still is dreaming of glory and taking the trophy home to whether it will be Italy or to Spain. Federico Bernardeschi is going to be introduced as Italy's sixth and final change of this match. But of course, they might have to wait to bring him on as Andrea Belotti looks ready and set to take the kickoff. And he gives it to Jorginho, now to Leonardo Bonucci, now Giorgio Chiellini. Remember, if there's no winner in the next 15 minutes in extra time, it will go to penalty kicks. It might go to 5 penalties. It may go to sudden death or even maybe more. Who knows? But of course, with Spain probably just shading it in terms of getting a goal that's going to win it in extra time, you hope that the Italians can just give something left, something that they might not have maybe had in normal time, and they've got enough in the tank to really push the Spanish and make it a good extra time. But of course, body and mind does play a massive part within that. Rodri heads it into Olmo. He certainly doesn't look devoid of any energy as he's trying to get away from Locatelli, who fouls him. Free kick, and he's proven a tricky customer, is Dani Olmo, so much so that I think pretty much the majority of the Italian team are trying their best to have a swipe at him on the pitch.
Yes, it certainly looks like. Yes, it certainly looks like they are. Olmo has been in real form throughout this match. We cannot just eulogize about him enough, can we?
No, we certainly cannot. And Federico Chiesa's evening is over. He's got that wonderful curling goal. Wembley's been really good to him in this tournament. It may even be better for him. Even more. 2 goals in 2 games against Austria and Spain tonight have really shown why he's enjoyed playing at one of football's most iconic venues. And he's replaced by Federico Bernardeschi, who comes on for the final 13 and a half minutes of extra time. Thiago has also come on for Spain, as he has come on in place, I believe, of Sergio Busquets, but I will get official confirmation of that. And he's going to take this free kick as well, is Thiago. He then tries to go for goal, but it's gone off the back of Berardi and rolls on through to Gianluigi Donnarumma. A bit of a waste there from Thiago, who's only just come on, of course. He has got Italian descent. In his, of course, he was actually born in Italy. His dad, who was a 1994 World Cup winner, for our older listeners, they made him the name Mazzino, played at Fiorentina when Thiago was born. So, of course, he had the chance to play for Italy and Brazil when he was younger. Bernardeschi tries to flick it to Pessina on the edge of the box. Defended well by Laporte, who just gives it back to Unai Simon quickly. And then it's touched out of play for a Italy throw on the right-hand side, which Bonucci goes to take. And now we're going to start to see the signs of cramp creeping in as Eric Garcia now goes down as Unai Simon just starts to extend his leg and try to get sort of some feeling back in his legs and not make him go down anymore. But there was this opportunity just a short time ago as Bernardeschi tried to flick it into Pessina. And it's going to be quite interesting to see how Bernardeschi does now come in on, because he's going to be fresh-legged. He's going to be, someone that Spain are going to have to really keep a close eye on, isn't he? And, he could be a real difference for the Italians, like what Morata's been for Spain when he came on.
Yes, the Spanish will have to be watching their backs from now on, because Bernardeschi, fresh pair of legs, really good midfielder. He could very much be the danger man in this second period of extra time, as Morata was in the second half for Spain.
Eric Garcia knows his time is up. He doesn't want to risk it anymore. So Pau Torres comes on, the man who we actually replaced in the Spain team for tonight's game. So Torres comes off, Garcia's off. He's done well in there as Eric Garcia, a man who's only made a hatful of appearances at senior level, but of course has got his move back to Barcelona, which he wanted, and has come off in place of Torres, who's immediately involved to try and head the ball out for a throw-in on the right-hand side, or Spain's left, in fact. Rafael Toloi goes over to take. So Thiago has actually gone on in place of Sergio Busquets. Toloi's throw to Pessina. Now Berardi in the box. He goes. He carries on. Good block by Aymeric Laporte. In the way of it as well was Pau Torres. It looked like it was goal bound as well, that shot. So vital block by both those two players in there. And then it has ended up into the net, but the flag has been raised against Domenico Berardi. The assistant referee, Stefan Luck from Germany, put his flag up pretty quickly for offside, and spot on with the decision there.
Yeah, so I'd have to agree with him on that one as well. Berardi did look like he was way ahead of the Spain defenders. So quite right to chalk this one off.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, now with the changes that have just been made, Thiago got on for Busquets and Bernardeschi on for Chiesa, which was just around about 4 or 5 minutes ago. Both sides have made their full quota of subs, the 6 available. 5 in normal time, but of course, if it does go to extra time in a knockout game at any level, of course, you can make that extra sub in extra time, and both sides have used that very early on in this second period of extra time. We're 20 minutes into extra time, so overall, we're 110 minutes in. It is Italy 1, Spain 1, the first semi-final of Euro 2020. Remember in Euro 2008, the quarterfinals in Vienna at the Ernst Happel Stadion. It went all the way to penalties, with Spain winning 4-2. And one of Roberto Mancini's coaching staff, Daniele De Rossi, missing one of the 2 penalties for the Italians that night. The man who missed for Spain was Dani Guiza, who, of course, would go on and help his country win the European Championships that very same year. Here is Jordi Alba. Now to Rodri. Pau Torres plays it to Olmo. Chiellini steps in and does well to win it. Belotti now on the ball. And Jordi Alba goes down. Belotti puts his hands on his head to say that he doesn't feel that was a free kick. Maybe Alba now wearing the captain's armband due to Busquets going off as maybe con the referee and getting a free kick there, because I don't really see a lot wrong with that.
No, neither do I. I mean, neither do I. It was just
it almost just sort of looks like there's just a bit of coming together, isn't it? Sort of, one leg to another, isn't it? There's not really a lot in that, is there? Do you think maybe Alba's screams just won him that free kick there?
Yes, maybe, but I couldn't see anything wrong. It was just a little tap.
There wasn't a lot in it, and the free kick hasn't come to anything for Spain. Bernardeschi drills it forward into Berardi, who's starting to become a bit of a nuisance and a bit of a threat for the Azzurri. And he's a nuisance for the Spanish defence. He has had a goal ruled out just moments ago in which he was offside. He did just stray forward before the ball did just go to him. Here's Pedri. Now to Pau Torres. To Aymeric Laporte. This period now, isn't it, Nicholas, where do you almost feel as though that the managers start to look at penalty takers now?
They might well start to look at who will be taking the penalties when the time comes. But it looks as if way things are that it will be.
Yeah, it does at the moment. It is one apiece in this game, and it does now look like fatigue and tiredness is creaking in. It's in Luis Enrique and Roberto Mancini just give instructions to their players in their technical areas. They're a long way out from it as well. Pretty much on the last line of it as well. Here's Manuel Locatelli goes down under the challenge of Marcos Llorente. It is a Spain throw. Llorente throws it back to Aymeric Laporte, who's now gone to the right-hand side of the defence where Pau Torres is slotted into the left-hand side. Of course, he came on in place of Eric Garcia, who went off with what looked like cramp. Maybe could even be more. Time will tell. Should Spain go through to the final and prevail on penalties as it stands, and that is the way we are heading in every sense of those words. Alba to Dani Olmo on the left-hand side. Back now to Rodri. Just the amount of sort of hard graft you've had to put in on the pitch, the amount of running, so much strain you've put on your body to try and win for your country tonight really is telling an extra time, and Belotti nearly set Berardi free, but it was only the back foot of Pau Torres that stopped it going through to him. Here's Morata. He's got to wait for white shirts to come to arrive. Morata gets to cross in on the left-hand side of the box. It's blocked by Bonucci, and it's a Spain throw on the left-hand side. Taken into Dani Olmo. He's got Llorente, Pedri, and Moreno alongside him in the box. Here is Morata. Now he tries to shift it to the right to Thiago. He did change his mind at the last minute there. Marcos Llorente steps in ahead of Belotti. Now out to the right with Gerard Moreno on his left foot. Now to Pedri. Morata's in front of him. Out to the right again with Moreno. Italy sitting in very, very deep. Cross goes in, but it's straight into the hands of Donnarumma via Moreno's high lofted cross.
Yes, a very well timed cross, but unfortunately, it went to the opposition goalkeeper.
Yeah, went to Donnarumma, as I mentioned earlier on. Here is now Giorgio Chiellini. 25 minutes gone of extra time. We're into the second period. 5 minutes to go. If there's no winner in 5 minutes, it will go to penalties. And of course, we saw penalties in the Euro 2012 semi-final where Spain were involved. They beat Portugal that night, where Cristiano Ronaldo missed in Donetsk in Ukraine. And Spain, of course, would then go on to beat the Italians at the NSK Olimpinski Stadium in Kiev to win back-to-back European Championships. Spain's record from penalties in the Euros is not that bad. They've only lost once. The Italians on penalties in the Euros have lost twice. So they'll be hoping that they can add another win tonight and the Spanish don't get another defeat, as Luis Enrique's in a squatting position. I think he's come to the realization now that it is going to be penalties. And of course, this is where the goalkeepers do show their true colours, don't they? In Donnarumma and Unai Simon. And Donnarumma then takes the kick down the middle, looking for Belotti. He is crowded out well. Now it's with Berardi, who tries to get under control, but just lets it go out of play for a throw down the Spain right-hand side. Well, they're looking to the heavens, some Spanish and Italian fans. If you're a neutral involved, penalties are great to watch. If you are involved in any capacity, whether it's a fan, player, coach, or staff member, they are horrible. And it is now dawning on those fans and the people back at home, I think, in various places around Italy and Spain, that penalties are fast approaching. Morata goes down. Bonucci does catch Alvaro Morata, whose equaliser has taken the game to penalties as it stands. Felix Brych has booked Leonardo Bonucci, and a man who often keeps his emotions in check has found himself on the wrong side of the law there.
Yes, it looks like he had. I mean, that was very unnecessary to take down Morata like that.
Well, I think Bonucci, being that high up, he was not going to just let Morata walk around him, was he, and just play the ball away from him. He was hell-bent on trying to win the ball and win it in a good area. He was around about 25 yards away from Unai Simon's area, and of course, had he won that cleanly, you would have thought it would have fallen to a blue shirt. Here's Gerard Moreno, gets it from the crossfield pass by Pau Torres. Laporte now to Pau Torres. 2 minutes to go of extra time, or it will go to penalties. Pau Torres to Pedri. Onto the edge of the box, looks for Olmo, but Pedri's pass was rushed. And then it's hacked clear by Manuel Locatelli. Spain throw on the left-hand side.
Yes, very much. But Locatelli, but Locatelli did well to defend that one.
He read the game very, very well. Their position, he was spot on there and just dealing with that. I think both sides have now come to the realisation that it will go to penalties at Wembley. Of course, this is a stadium that has seen many penalty shootouts. At the new Wembley, anyway, we're used to seeing playoff final penalty shootouts, not international major tournaments as well. Here's Thiago, tries to get through to Llorente, but the ball was too central and had too much zip on it. As Luis Enrique puts his hands on his hips and just sort of puffs his cheeks out in frustration. And of course, with penalties now coming, Nicholas, I mean, if you know you're a player that, you know, feels like he's going to take one, how would you sort of approach the psyche of taking a penalty? Would you just sort of treat it as normal as you can, just block the crowd up? Because you've always heard these, you know, penalty takers, you know, how good they are in these pressure situations. It comes to penalty shootouts with so much riding on it, the goal just becomes increasingly smaller, doesn't it?
Yeah, so much pressure for when you want to. So much pressure for when you're taking things like penalty shootouts. If I were a player, I would just concentrate as hard as I can, just block everything out, and just look ahead.
Belotti goes down, and that is that. So the first semi-final of Euro 2020 goes the distance and goes to penalties. We finished at 1-1 after 90 minutes. It's the same after an extra 30 minutes of extra time as Italy and Spain repeat the quarter-final that they played in Euro 2008 in Vienna, and now doing it in London 13 years later in the semi-finals. It's finished after 120 minutes. Italy won, Spain won. It's penalties to decide who is in the final on Sunday.
Yes, thank you very much there, Matt and to Nicholas. Well, before we get the thoughts of who they think is going to win the penalty shootout, and I'm going to say there about John Kane and Mike Orneman, I'm just going to go to Nicholas for a moment and ask Nicholas one big question, which we normally ask the commentator, but since you're the co-commentator today, Nicholas, who has been your man of the match in this thrilling encounter today?
Because he's been such a nuisance to Italy throughout the whole of the game, I would have to give it to Dani Olmo.
Yes, he has played very, very well today as Dani Olmo for me as well, Nicholas. Let's see if he has been played well today in the opinion of John Kane. John, what's your thoughts on Dani Olmo today?
He's been really, really good. he especially started to see more of Dani Olmo in a much very dynamic way when he had Merino and Morata with him. In the first half, the other two that came off earlier weren't as productive and weren't as linking up well. But in the second half, you can see the introduction of the new forwards for Spain made a big difference for Olmo's performance.
Yes, absolutely. Would you agree that with Nicholas and mentioned there with John Mike that Olmo was man of the match?
Yeah, I think Dani Olmo had a really good game, to be honest. I think that, first half, second half, all the way through extra time as well. I think he's had a very good performance there. And as John said, when Morata and Moreno come on as well, you saw a different sort of kind of Dani Olmo. But, I think just going into the penalties now as well, Nicholas kind of summed it up really about you just need to kind of try and block everything out. And for, somebody that's going up and taking the penalty as well, just, pick your spot, don't change your mind. There you go.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. There's penalties will be on the way very, very shortly. They're just getting ready to do the time course, see which side and which team's going to go first in the shootout. So to talk you through the shootout after what's been an enthralling game, which it's time to hand back over to Nicholas Jones. Well, first of all, Matt Isles.
Well, the smiles between Alba and Chiellini. I think that's a way of relaxing. As Felix Breich, of course, is now doing the coin toss. It looks like it might be potentially getting shot down the... It's Italy that will go first. Chiellini very quick to say that as him and Alba share a hug and a bit of a joke amongst one another. So this is a big, big moment for Unai Simon and Donnarumma, who both acknowledge each other with a bit of a smile as well. Unai Simon saved 2 penalties against Switzerland. Fabian Schär and Manuel Akanji were stopped from him, in which he got man of the match. After the game, Donnarumma, of course, yet to be involved in a penalty shootout for the Italians. He keeps up that phenomenal record of not conceding more than 1 goal in any of his international matches that he's played for the Italians. What an unbelievable stat that is, ever since he came into the side a few years ago, as, of course, Felix Breich may just be trying to lay down the law with both his goalkeepers. And Nicholas, how do you think they're both feeling just quickly, both those goalkeepers? Because there's so much pressure on them as much as the penalty taker, isn't it? It almost just feels like it doesn't really get often talked about, does it?
They might be smiling now, but they know deep down that it's up to them to halt the advances of each side. Like a fight to the death, it's no compromise.
Absolutely. It will be Italy who go first in front of their supporters down the south side of Wembley Stadium. And it's going to be Manuel Locatelli of Sassuolo to take first. He scored a brace in that 3-0 win over Switzerland and has found a place in the side hard to come by ever since. The Italian fans behind the goal hold their breath, as do the country and the people within it back at home. Locatelli with a short run up. He goes to his left and takes it. It's saved by Simon, who dives low and to his right. And Italy miss their first penalty. And Unai Simon, who saved 2 against Switzerland, saves the first one he faces tonight.
That was quite a robust save from Simon. Chiellini did everything right, but he hadn't reckoned on Simon's use of his hands.
Spain now up, and it's Dani Olmo to take. Of course, with Simon saving, you hope Olmo can take advantage and not hope that Donnarumma gives Locatelli a moment of redemption. It will be Dani Olmo to take. Can he score? He goes high and it's over the bar. He's completely fluffed it. He just put too much on it. He had too much height. And 1 penalty each. Both sides have missed and Locatelli's off the hook.
Yes, quite. Yes, 2 powerful shots from Olmo.
He's leaning back, isn't he? He's leaning back sort of on his left-hand side and he's gone way too high as he's tried to go to Donnarumma's right. He did guess right, Donnarumma, but albeit dived down low. It's now Andrea Bellotti who's going to take. He's a regular taker for club side Torino in Serie A. He's almost going to run centrally as Unai Simon puts his arms in the air and moves from left to right to put him off. And it's Bellotti, and he scores right into the corner. Simon dived to his right. He was unlucky, but he was not far enough to try and keep it out. And the first penalty of the shootout is scored by Andrea Bellotti. And that was a penalty, Nicholas, with a lot of conviction behind it.
Yes, a lot of conviction, a lot of commitments from Bellotti. It seemed to me as though Simon didn't know which way to look.
Well, Gerard Moreno has to score this, you think. Of course, he missed the penalty in normal time against Poland in the group stages. He was one of the takers against Switzerland. Moreno steps up and scores. Donnarumma went to his left. Moreno went to his right. Donnarumma with a big arm may have just pushed that in. But Moreno has scored and Spain are on the board in the shootout.
Yes, great bit of work there by Moreno.
Leonardo Bonucci steps up next. Scored a penalty in Euro 2016, didn't he? He actually missed in the shootout against Germany 5 years ago. Can he score this time round in a penalty shootout for his country? Up he steps against Simon. Bonucci scores, just rolls it in. Doesn't do anything silly. Just does what he needed to do, and that's put the ball in the net from 12 yards. And that was a confident penalty. No messing about from Leonardo Bonucci. It's Italy 2-1 up after 3 spot kicks for them. After, 5 penalties altogether, Italy 2-1 in the shootout. And now it's over to Thiago for Spain. The Liverpool man, who of course came on at the end of the first half of extra time, looking to score. It's a short run up, and he just passes it beyond Donnarumma. He gave him the eyes. Donnarumma dived a little bit too early for me. It's 2 apiece with 6 penalties taken.
That was well concentrated by Thiago. Just sent Donnarumma the wrong way.
Enrico Bernardeschi of Juventus is going to take now as, like Thiago, he came on in extra time. Can he put this beyond Unai Simon, who's trying his very, very best to make life difficult for Bernardeschi and put him off? He's going to run through it and he's going to strike on his left foot, and he's just absolutely swung it way too high and beyond the goalkeeper, Unai Simon, who dived down to his left, but the penalty had too much height on it and it's gone top bin, and Italy have got their 3rd spot kick scored of this shootout. As Bernardeschi says, come on to those Italian fans.
Yes, quite the shot into that top right corner. Just kapow!
It was a really good penalty by Bernardeschi. Now Alvaro Morata, he's missed a penalty himself in the Euros. He missed against Slovakia with Martin Dubravka saving. Morata steps up here. He's saved! Donnarumma denies him. Alvaro Morata, so often the scapegoat and the pantomime villain for Spain, has missed in the shootout. And Italy are on the verge of the European Championship final. And you've got to say, Nicholas, it was not the best of penalties, and it was too easy for Donnarumma to save.
Yes, too right. Very poorly kicked by Morata, but and Donnarumma just knew where to go.
Well, it's a familiar face taking it. Jorginho. Does he stick with the same technique, or does he try something different? This to win it for the Azzurri and to take them to the final. Manuel Locatelli and Chiellini just having a bit of a moment to each other. The fans in the crowd believe. There's hands on the mouths of some of them. Jorginho scores! Italy are through to the European Championship final and celebrate right in front of their travelling supporters. Roberto Mancini's side were taken all the way by Spain, but they are through to the final on Sunday and will be back at Wembley to take part in the European Championship final. The side who many felt could go all the way are one game away from achieving recognition as the best side in European football, internationally anyway. But Jorginho, one of the players still on the pitch from the start, was always going to take a penalty. It was just depending on which order. He goes last and scores as Italy win 4-2 in the shootout, with Morata and Olmo missing for Spain, two of their better players on the evening tonight. Locatelli missed the first spot kick for Italy, but that doesn't matter. Simon saved 2 against Switzerland. He only saved 1 tonight. Donnarumma saved 2. He gets a massive round of applause as there's a whole barrage of players around him. But Italy are in the final, where England or Denmark away. Nicholas Jones, the Azzurri, are through, and they've done it the hard way to get through as well.
They certainly have, and they went for it right until the very end. Superb finish by Jorginho. And as you say, they will face either England or Denmark on Sunday.
Well, there are tears amongst some of those Italian players. There will be some tears amongst those fans. There's going to be some celebrations tonight, I would expect, but let's not hope for those Italian fans or staff or players that it's too wild, because they haven't won the tournament yet. The big one's to come on Sunday, where England or Denmark away, as Nicholas said. But full time from the first semi-final. Nothing to separate them after 120 minutes. Chiesa scored after an hour. Then Morata with 10 minutes to go equalised. That's how it stayed after 90 minutes and for 30 minutes of extra time. But Italy win 4-2 on penalties, with Belotti, Bonucci, Bernardeschi and Jorginho scoring the 4 for the Italians. And Olmo and Morata missing, with Donnarumma saving both those pens. The Azzurri through to the Euro 2020 final.
Yes, congratulations to Italy, commiserations to Spain, and once again, brilliant call, as always, by Matt Iles and, of course, by the wonderful Nicholas Jones as well. They bring their tournaments to an end tonight. Fantastic work from them both throughout the tournament. On behalf of everyone in the Connacht Club, first of all, to you, Matt, thank you for excellent coverage throughout the tournament. You've been superb. And Nicholas, from the moment you stepped into the coverage on the tournament, from that first Denmark match, which ended very, very early after that incident with Christian Eriksen, you've come back and done a sterling job and everything. So congratulations to you as well. Congratulations to all the team here as well. Now let's throw to John Kane and just say to John, what a game, John. Italy win. How about that, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when it comes to penalties, is a lottery in the end of the day. However, even that lottery is how you play it, and the way Italy left it to the last man, which is, we've seen Jorginho time and time again scores beautiful penalties for Chelsea, as he did, and he done exactly the same for Italy today. The only thing I can say is, well done, Italy. Congratulations, and my commiseration to Spain. And of course, me being Spain now, I'm going to have to look out and see who will be the next new manager, because I can't see Enrique keeping on as manager beyond today.
Yes, and we'll quickly move across to Mike Arnhem. And before we do end the programme, to hand over to the normal productive coverage on Storm FM web. Stay with us, because you will get the DJ Arney's Chill Tuesdays with Mike Conman straight after this conclusion of this coverage. But first of all, Mike, what a semi-final it has been. Italy win on penalties. We couldn't separate it in 30 minutes of normal time. You thought Spain would go through, but Italy was spot on in the penalties, apart from the first one, weren't they, Mike?
Yeah, of course, the first one was really well saved from Locatelli. And then I think, from then on, of course, Dani Olmo was fired over. And then after that, the Italians didn't put a foot wrong. The penalty from Morata, just seen it again now, was a really weak penalty. Actually, it was quite soft, and the goalkeeper was, I think he was even diving down to that way at that point already. So, when you look at that, it was kind of a poor penalty from his part, and he's gone from hero to villain within a matter of 40 minutes or thereabouts. And then with Jorginho there as well, that's what you want. In that pressure situation, of course, to score the winning penalty like that, in style, he just rolled it into the back of the net, calm, composed, and never in any doubt that he was going to do anything other than score that.
Absolutely, indeed, Mike. Absolutely, indeed. And just before we do finish today, we've got one more semi-final, which we'll bring you tomorrow live on the commentary with JB and Justin Oit tomorrow. But while I've got you guys here, especially Nicholas and Matt, who probably will not be on our coverage tomorrow, we'll go to Matt first. And Matt, England-Denmark is going to be enthralling, another enthralling Euro 2020 semi-final. But for you, Matt, will England make the final against Italy on Sunday for you?
Yeah, I think they've got enough just to about do it. I mean, Denmark will be England's toughest opponent to get to the final. I think, obviously, they're buoyed and spirited by the fact of what happened to Christian Eriksen, and they've, pretty much just sort of built a whole tournament on it, haven't they? And it's just worked wonders for them. They've got better and better, I think, as the tournament's got on. I think against Wales, against Russia, they look really, really good. They can threaten England, but the amount of quality we got on the pitch, and after that, real convincing, commanding display against Ukraine, I think if England do really turn up and, do think that Denmark will be a threat, I think England will be in the final at Wembley Stadium in front of, 90,000, with the majority crowd being English. It will be something to really savour for, people of my generation, and certainly, a lot of people that haven't actually ever, and a lot of older generation as well, they've not actually ever seen England in a major final. So, yeah, I think they're going to about just do enough tomorrow, but it's certainly not going to be easy by any means.
Absolutely, Matt. Absolutely, Matt. And Nicholas, do you think England will make the final on Sunday, or do you think Denmark will be too strong for the Three Lions tomorrow?
Denmark have been a very tough side throughout this throughout Euro 2020. I would say possibly a dark horse for this one as well. I've done a few of their games, and the way they've played has certainly proved me right. I reckon England might scrape through on that one, but Denmark are going to be really tough to play against.
Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. And John King, for you, who will go through tomorrow, England or Denmark?
Well, I hope my prediction will be right this time around, because I did predict Spain will go through, and it didn't happen. So, but I do think that England got enough in them to pass through Denmark. But like Matt said, and Nicholas, is not going to be an easy game in any way, shape, or form. Denmark are a very, very good team, very strong team, very organised team. And let's face it, in the end of the day, mentally, they know that generation of footballers, they sort of, they won the Euro in 1992. So their success, or them getting to the final, is on their side more than our side. We have to go back in 1966. They only have to go back in 1992. But at the end of the day, it's who actually turns up on the night, and I hope England will turn up tomorrow.
As will many across England will tomorrow, John, as well. And Mike, for you, have England got enough to beat Denmark and make it to the final against Italy on Sunday?
I think it's going to be a very close game. I think, Denmark are certainly galvanised by what's happened with Christian Eriksen, and they're playing for him, their teammate, or their friend as well. Of course, remember they're coming to Wembley. That the last time they'd done that, it was Christian Eriksen's goal that was the difference as well, when a Denmark victory in the Nations League by a goal to nil. It was a penalty kick that day from Eriksen. So, of course, Denmark's going to be a challenging game, but I'm cautiously optimistic is the word. So I think England will probably go on, and I'm gonna say England will just about nick it with a 2-1 scoreline. So there's plenty to be wary of with that Denmark side, Højbjerg and the likes of Dolberg as well, and You know, of course, everyone knows the goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, is a really good goalkeeper. Simon Kerr as well, and Mailer, I think it is, the left fullback. So there's plenty there. Damsgaard as well, Martin Brathwaite. They've got a lot of talent in that side, but I do think England will just have enough to get over the line.
Yes, absolutely. I think they will as well. And just before we leave, I just want to say, Matt, I know you'll be with us when we do the podcast for looking back on the semi-finals and the quarterfinals and previewing the final ahead of the final on Sunday. But Matt, your final commentary on the channel for the European Championships. Great work, my friend, and hopefully you've enjoyed your commentaries that you've had to do throughout this championships.
Yeah, obviously, thank you for your nice comments for that, and obviously, thank you to everyone that's tuned in on the various games that I've managed to do. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, I think in particular, a lot of the games that I've managed to cover have been very, very different to sort of the next one. I think, obviously, you know, a lot of the games that I've seen have been quite interesting tactical games to watch from afar. So, you know, it hasn't quite been a flurry of goals, but, you know, one thing that I will certainly take away is, you know, I've seen a lot of sort of the bigger name sides in the tournament, your Italy's, your Spain's, England's, and the Dutch, the French, the Germans, and so forth. So, yeah, I've really enjoyed every minute of it. I've loved covering the games. I hope you've obviously enjoyed my commentary, and, you know, hopefully there's more to come in the next few months sort of down the line. And obviously, you know, I think I've left it in good hands with JB for tomorrow with England, and Justin for England and Denmark.
You have indeed, my friend. And just one final one before we do go. Nicholas, thank you for your coverage throughout the tournament as well. This would be in your final game. Have you enjoyed covering the tournament on the channel?
Yeah, I have, and I feel somewhat sad that it's coming to an end, but I've got to look ahead to next season, and internationally, it's not over for me either, because I'm looking to cover home nations World Cup qualifying matches at some stage.
Yes, we'll make sure you get some of those, Nicholas, my friend. And once again, thanks to John Kane and to Mike Connerman for joining me on this broadcast this evening. If you're tuning in on Storm FM, stay tuned. DJ Arnis Chill Tuesdays is on the way next. From all of us here at the Commentary Hub and your coverage of Italy against Spain. Thank you very much for listening. From all of us here, good night.